Salutations, everybody. It is Matty here today, and welcome to episode 294 of the H.A.M Radio Podcast.
And it's me, Karak with ACG. Out, dog.
Out. I did that little pause for the episode number because I saw you lean. I was like, I'm going to wait for him to pop back into the shot.
They know, man. It's so weird. It's so weird.
Know.
They've started back up. Now that Ming's passed after a while, they've started to pick up his slack, I guess. I don't know.
Yes, man.
Somebody said that this morning. We said, Dustin said it was the longest podcast, or maybe somebody did, but on Twitter, somebody said it was like this long, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, but it's only like 60 minutes of Matty talking. You could ignore whenever I talked. And then somebody else was like, and at least half an hour of puppy time. And I was like, yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah.
Because we both have dogs that are always in our way.
You're not wrong. That's part of the reason I pay for this space that I'm in, because the dogs were so loud, and I don't mind them being loud. I know the audience has been more than understanding. For me, I can't focus. Every time I lose my train of thought.
It breaks your mentality. That's why I can't have somebody here when I record. I have to make sure the wife is gone. That's why you and I've talked about like, wife's here. Because she'll walk and I can hear the dogs go like, because we have hardwood floors, and they'll tap, tap, tap,
the
tap,
clacking.
tap, 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 tap. Oh, it's so, and it sounds so weird, but I'll be like, stop recording. Wait for it to be done.
Yep.
What's up, everybody? This is Gary. First world problems, but they are problems.
No, but you're not wrong, man. The amount of my bedroom is right above the garage door. So, my family's living their life. So I'll be mid-video. I'm in my flow, and all I hear is, I'm like, fuck. This loud eruption of metal clanging below me. It's like, well, the camera's going to pick that up. Got to wait it out. So, yeah, I feel your pain. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, once again, welcome to the H.A.M Radio Podcast. This is our weekly laid-back gaming show where myself, Karak, and usually Dustin get together and we just talk all the highlights of gaming in that past week. Dustin has some Last Stand media work to tend to. He's working on Sacred Symbols. He's rendering and producing stuff, being the big old executive producer at Last Stand Media that he is. So he will not be here for this episode. So you're stuck with just Karak and I. So we're going to be talking this week, of course, about Bethesda, Dying Light 2 getting an update. That's going to be an interesting one. Yeah. Square Enix has their own little showcase this month. We've also got your Patron questions that you can submit through the Patreon Discord. You can sign up at patreon.com/MrMattyPlays, where 370 of you are currently there. Thank you so much. You get early access to this show every Friday the moment it's done. Karak can attest to the timeliness. I will have that episode up within about 15 minutes. So it's like, boom,
ridiculous.
Done. And that's because it's raw audio, baby. So you get the purest form of podcasting in this show. You really do. You just get two audio files. They get merged into one. I love how
Matty set it up to make it sound like you were doing something positive for him. You're like, you get the real us, baby.
I do fucking nothing.
It's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah, but honestly, it works and it makes it timely. But it's also why we don't do early access for video, because we're already finishing at like 8 at night. And by that point, most of you want to have time to listen to the show for the Sunday release. So, for those of you who want to sign up, link in the description down below. Karak also has a Patreon where he does very fantastic stuff. Karak, what has been going on over there?
We have the Sunday streaming group, which has been awesome. It's a group of the Discord folks who want to learn how to stream, maybe a little less stress. So that's been the big thing that we've been doing. Hired Absy.
Oh, really?
One of the Discord guys. Yeah. I hired him about 2 weeks ago, which is project management of like, what am I, like what things do I need to do? This is a good time, right? This is a good time to like crunch your channel. So it just been like, do I want to try shorts? Do I want to try this? Do I want to try that? What do we want to do? What do I want to do to make me enjoy it? And then he's technically minded. So it's been a huge, and he like, we just talked about this, but there'll be those days where I'm a little slow to like get the juice, the desire to say something on camera. And he'll be like, dude, what's up? Dude, what's up? What's up? What's up? And that is a huge, people don't realize it, man. That is a big motivator for me, because I don't like to be the person holding people up. And so it's awesome when I have somebody like that. He's been a huge help. He was on the channel. He's been on your podcast once, but that was the one where you were sick.
I was out. I was out for that. But we did World War Z together. He was in the call.
I found that out.
Yeah.
I forgot. I found the video yesterday and I saw your name. So I got to ask you this. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, that was it.
I have no recollection of playing that game with you. None.
Really? That was the only time we've actually played together when I think about it now.
It is. And I brought up the video yesterday. I downloaded the YouTube and it said your name. It's MrMattyPlays 1887 or something. It wasn't even just, or maybe it was Absy 1887. And then
mine was
you're
just
MrMattyPlays.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I click it and I hear you and I'm like, what is happening? What is happening? And I was DMing people going, was Absy by himself? And he was recording this? And then I hear myself pop up and I'm like, I do not remember that. I actually just told somebody last month we had not got a chance to play games together. That is so weird.
Yeah, I know. It's funny because I remember that well because when we were doing it and it was just so natural, I was thinking, man, we have not done this. That's what stuck out to me. And especially because it was in a review period. You know, you and I were both reviewing the game. And so it was kind of cool to have this multiplayer game ahead of launch and then be able to hop into a match together as well as with Absy and get something going. Like that was awesome to me. So I do remember that fondly, but I don't blame you for forgetting because it was so long ago.
Well, what's weird is I say that during the footage because I'm recording raw and we at the end say, man, that was awesome, blah, blah, blah. But I do have a memory of we did a combined No Man's Sky. Do you remember that one?
Yeah,
we did the combined review.
Yeah, and you know what I did forget? What we did together was Forza Horizon 3. That was my first
Forza
video
Horizon
with you on your channel. Yeah, I was watching some of that and like you could see, dude. I'm not saying I look super manly now, but like I had no facial hair. Like it was just completely different.
The young Matty, undestroyed by YouTube. The young, happy Padawan Matty,
not rugged.
Prior to the dark
didn't
side.
have the rate. What do they call them? Like the crow's feet or whatever on the side of my eye when I smile. It's just like Jesus Christ.
Anyway, long story short, what am I doing? I'm just doing channel stuff. Sorry, that's what I should have said at the starting. Some podcasts, nothing huge.
Yeah, same here. You know, I've been just up to my ears in work on this Xbox-filled week, Bethesda-filled week.
No,
it's been so much so that people have been asking me, hey, you know, are you an Xbox channel now? And I get it because we do an Xbox show, but, you know, it to me, it's like some people were just tracking, like, hey, is this going to be a new thing you're doing? And I'll probably wrap some of their stuff into what I cover because it's more stuff to talk about and it's relevant to the interest that a lot of my audience has. And plus, I'm interested in it, but I think a lot of people have missed the point of all the companies that Xbox owns that I talked about before any acquisitions took place, and now they're just like all under one umbrella. Someone suggested something fucking incredible, by the way. They were saying, imagine if, because this is jumping ahead in the topic, but I just wanted to say it now because I'm rolling a little bit. What if Age of Empires did like a Tamriel game? Because
shit,
yeah,
never thought about that.
Right? Someone wrote it in the comments.
And you hear people say Lord of the Rings all the time, like but that would be something because remember they did Halo Wars. There's nothing whatsoever stopping them from looking at that and saying, or even what if it wasn't that as Age of Empires in depth, but what if it was like Elder Wars or something, dude?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I saw the comment.
That's why I'm. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. I was just saying I saw the comment, and I wish I had the name, but I saw it. And went, what the? Because that's a lot of what Bethesda talked about were these crossovers and these ties to series, and you know Phil saying, "Oh, I can't wait to see what we can do with id Tech," and then someone said, "Hey, man, I'm just saying, Age of Empires, Tamriel." I'm thinking, wow, that would be awesome. I've never really played much Age of Empires before, but. You know, those types of crossovers and tie-ins, that lights my fire more than anything, man. Just seeing two things come together.
No! What about a fucking, Elder Scrolls Tactics?
Yes.
Dude. See, people
Karak's
don't
caught
realize
the bug.
why
Let's go. We got him.
Here's the problem. People don't realize. So this is the biggest join ever. Which is why somebody could think, oh, a lot of channels are Xbox only channels. This is the biggest combination that's ever happened. So that's exciting, right? And people can go and watch us talk about Spider-Man if they think we are magically Xbox fans, or watch my coverage of Master Chief Collection. Certainly not. Yeah. But when current discussion dictates things that could be absolutely fantastic, then go watch me talk about Raving Rabbids or you when we discuss the mixture of Rabbids and Mario and understand XCOM. and understand that those combinations are where the juice for me personally comes. And I told the podcast today on my own podcast, people were like, man, you're really up today. And I was like, you don't understand. I'm up because I have been uninterested overall with the rigmarole of day-to-day who is Tencent buying.
Mm-hmm.
That to me is not gaming as much. And since games are not there and we're all reporting on bad Cyberpunk stuff, it dies down. But the combination of excellence is what excites me. And the ability for us to say Elder Scrolls Tactics changes the entire future of Elder Scrolls, of Microsoft and how they do games. Like that shit, it doesn't matter if you're a fan or you should look at that and go, fuck.
What's kind of funny is there's a game called Fallout Tactics that exists.
I know.
And it's like, now's your chance to rebrand that and turn it into something more.
Exile, suddenly, that's what they're doing because they got the Wasteland 3 thing. Dude, like those are ideas that I bet you Microsoft is patenting as much as possible so they can't, so some fan can't say, I came up with that in a YouTube comment on Matty's channel.
Yeah.
And that's good.
Man,
we do a sorry.
No, I was just gonna say
on Xbox
so much.
You should write this down as a subject. On Xbox, we should on the Duke, we should do like a half an hour or whatever on combinations.
Let's do it. I'm writing it down now. Xbox.
Because we got excited on Duke yesterday about the same thing, and I can't remember what the combination was that we talked about, but we were both like, "Oh my god!" That's where.
What was it? I thought you said something about Prey or no. You said I forgot what it was.
No. I said it was Prey. It was something. Oh my god, there's a lot.
Yeah, there is a lot.
We'll remember after the podcast. But anyway, I'm just saying we should do that on Defining Duke. Yeah, that'd be fun.
I agree. So as for our typical intro stuff, you can tell we're very excited about our main subject at hand, so we'll dive into that soon. But as per our usual intro, what we're playing, what we're up to. This past week, I have been playing Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. I played it a little bit on stream when Microsoft had officially announced that they bought Bethesda. I did a talk stream because we've shut down, for now at least, Extra Slice of Ham just because the schedule was overflowing. There was no extra time anywhere, and I wanted to start streaming more, and so that was the logical cut. And we're going to do monthly Q&As on the Patreon to supplement that, along with our bi-weekly Patreon videos where we have a Dragon Age 2 re-review coming, and then weekly early access to the podcast. But during that stream, I was playing Fallout 3, and I was like, man, this shit feels kind of old, because I have been playing it on PC previously through the GOG version, which functions for some people, not all, but for me, it does consistently work there. And then going back onto console, let's just say I'm very excited for whenever Microsoft wants to implement that FPS boost to that game. Funny enough, that's not on Game Pass yet, which I found awfully strange.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that in a little bit. But anyway, switch games midstream, moved to Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, Platinum Games title, and it is where you play as Raiden after the events of Metal Gear Solid 4. And I got to say, it is number one, really showing how far that company has come. When you look at something like Astral Chain, which I'm a huge fan of, and it's about 20 plus hours of just pure action, some thoughtful in-between moments throughout the combat and exploration, and the variety that's offered and how they've really started to elevate their game. And then you look at something like Metal Gear Rising, which is excellent still, but it's a flashy display of animations with pretty simple combat inputs, and there's no dodge button. There's just parrying, which you wouldn't think is a big deal, but it feels like you're glued to the ground. So when you're mid-combo, like in Nier Automata, you can dash and you can evade. In this game, unless there's a skill I have yet to unlock, which I don't think there is, you cannot evade. So it's a good showing of how far they've come while still being impressed with the game. Because, like I said, 20 plus hours in Astral Chain. This game's like 4 or 5 hours. Very, very short. But it has one mechanic that hasn't been used in any fucking game in ever. And it's, you remember when like Raiden could slow down time and you could chop horizontal and vertically?
Yeah.
You just chop it up and they'd have like a combo counter and they'd have a part counter. And I thought that was just awesome. But we've never seen that mechanic enter any other games afterwards, which I found strange. But I've been digging the hell out of it. And I just started Gears 4 last night. We played for about 3 hours. We're pretty much already nearing the end of it. We're about to finish up Act 3, and there's like I think 5 chapters in Act 4, and then 4 chapters in Act 5. So after that, we're done, and then we finally move on to Gears 5, which I've been really excited to get around to. That and Hive Busters. So I've just been wanting to play all the Gears games this year. So we're almost done with 4. Going to move on to 5, and once that's complete, this summer, my friends and I are going to dive into Halo. So that has been what I've been playing. I know you told us a little bit of what you've been up to, but have you been playing anything else since we last talked yesterday, funny enough?
Yeah, but I do. First of all, yesterday, I mistook you saying Revengeance for that shit zombie one. Remember? When you
Survive.
I can't remember. Survive.
Yeah.
With Gears, so you've never played. So you played all of them but 5. Am I reading that right?
For Metal Gear?
No, for Gears.
Oh, Gears.
For Gears of War, you've played all of them but 5.
Yes.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Dude, how did you miss 5? How did you miss 5? You're in for a treat, because I got to tell you, like, I still think Gears probably has nailed more than Halo has now. When you add them all together, Halo's had a couple missteps, and I think overall Gears hasn't. But dude, Halo 5's, man, that mini open world thing that they got going is pretty. Or I think I said Halo, but Gears 5, it's awesome. Like, you get on that little airship wing thingy. I don't even remember what you call it.
I know what you're talking about, but
yeah, and you just roll around with a friend, and it feels a totally different way than the other Gears, and not in a bad way. As in, when I played it, I was like, this works. And there's more city. It draws you in as a person a little bit more in Gears, which I think is awesome, because you start to see like the people you're saving. You saw that in a couple where you would go to like a place where some people were holding out, but this has a town, which I think really works. But what I've been playing... go ahead.
Sorry. I was just going to say, with Gears 4, what's really interesting is I do think this is... I speak very positively about it, and nothing's really changed on that front, but I do think out of the whole series I've played so far that it's probably my least favorite, which I found kind of interesting. Number one,
I would agree with
the sound, the chainsaw sound. Someone made a whole video on it, so I'm probably not saying anything original, but very underwhelming, where there was a harshness, I would say, to the audio in a crunch in Gears' audio, and this is more like soft and muted, which I'm not a fan of. Number 2 is that the robots you fight in the first 2 chapters, they're just shooting robots is never satisfying unless you have laser weaponry where you can kind of shoot their parts off. But when you're shooting bullets and you're seeing them dink off, there's just less satisfying visual feedback for that to me. And it's also, let's be honest, Gears about gore as well, and when you have no gore, it's not as satisfying to fight against. So I think the opening chapters hurt it a little bit, and plus the character development's a lot slower. I've heard 5 really picks things up, though. So I'm not getting down on it because I know that it was their first try with the Coalition, and I think they did a really good job carrying the torch. But yeah, it's just interesting now that I've gone through them all in these last couple of months, and we're going to be moving to 5 soon. Right now, I'd say Gears 4, definitely my least favorite.
Yeah, I would actually fully agree with that. For what I've been playing, more Loop Hero, which is probably my favorite indie game in the last couple years. I mean,
I want to play that so bad.
Her Majesty's Bird, the flying game I played last year or the year before, was good. But dude, Loop Hero, it was so funny to have Reg in my podcast this morning go, oh my God, I know what you mean now. Because when you unlock a new hero, the entire way the game plays changes. And he's like, I hear somebody say that, and I think to myself, I'm a warrior, now I'm a magic user. That's what changes. And it's like, no, dude, everything changes. It's insanity how much it changes. And it doesn't look the greatest. So I'll never sell somebody on the graphics. I'm not a SNES fan.
Not to cut you off, what changes when I didn't even know there were different like playable characters or classes or whatever. I just know this is like a roguelite, and you pick different pieces of the map as it kind of expands, and it sort of, you kit out that character. What changes when I'm like a mage versus, I'm guessing, a warrior?
The entire way the battle changes, and then also depending on which class you unlock, and I haven't unlocked them all, the way you even get items completely changes to where you have to go buy them now versus getting them off animals. Like, it's just, it changes the way, and then like preventative gameplay pops up as a mage, but not a fighter. A fighter's got health, right? But the mage has got these other things that, dude, It's so weird. It's so, because Maddie, if you asked me to even describe to you what genre this is, I would be like, it's a play itself rogue light strategy game. That's the many things going on. It is the weirdest. It's got and a card game. I forgot.
Isn't it like also an RPG? I've seen people use that for it too.
RPG light for sure, because he's only got a couple stats.
Right.
But that does change then, of course, when you get a different character. But yeah, dude, it's magical. Like, I don't gush over most games, and I can guarantee I don't return to games. I just don't have time. And I've returned to that game. Somebody brought it up this morning. They're like, dude, you have not shut up about the game for like 4 weeks. Like, what the fuck? And that's because that's what I play. And Maddie, you just start. I have two. I don't know if you have 2 monitors, but I have 2.
I got one here.
And okay, so you could do it on a side or whatever and then work in a window, but I put it on a side monitor and I'll just metagame it and be like, let's see how long I can last. And I'll just be like, ksh, and then I'll be doing my own shit, looking over, because it'll fight in real time. And then you just drag your items onto your guy as he's walking around this loop. And you're just like, should I stop as a bonfire? Should I not? Should I stop? Should I not? I'm going to let him go. And then you just watch it. And that's not even a part of the fucking game. What I mean is the devs don't say ignore it, but have you ever played Progress Quest when you were younger?
I remember you bringing that up. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway,
I do
so
like
that's
those micromanager kind of play itself. Like the satisfaction's kind of laid in your preparation and seeing.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah.
I kind of like that.
Where you don't have to worry about timing a hit. Like, how many times have you got a new combo system in a game and you're like, okay, you have to hit at the end of the swing. Oh, this one doesn't care. You can the moves. And in this game, you just don't do that at all. It's more, it's almost like just looking down, kitting him out. And yeah, man, it's awesome. And then Neo 2. Neo 2's one of my favorite games of all time. Dude, Neo 2, I was talking to Carlos from G2 Sports about it a couple days ago. I was like, I'm still playing this game. I'm still playing this game. Like, it's so enjoyable. It's so enjoyable.
Cannot recommend that enough, man. That is such a good game. And I get why they're not doing a third, but it's such a shame because I would love to see them just keep going. I would love to see them keep going.
It's a shame because also I don't hear a lot of people talk about it in the way that I feel. In a year, it's going to be
the cult classic, underappreciated. Yeah. 100%. I could tell right when I played it too, and I saw the chatter online because it's just what it is I've been dying for a new Ninja Gaiden title, or Gaiden, whatever people say. I think it's Gaiden. I've been dying for a new title from them, and what this does is takes a lot of elements from that, a lot of elements from Souls. A lot of elements from Dynasty Warriors. All of these are games I really either enjoy, or in the case of Dynasty Warriors, almost this guilty pleasure of, hey, this is really mindless and doesn't require a lot of depth, and it's still really fun. And it just mashes all these elements together, and it's just it's its own thing. And when you combine that with its Japanese aesthetic, mythological elements, really good enemy design, fun locations to explore, a good difficulty curve, and just kind of this sense of replayability thanks to your builds and some of these cool ass moves that my friend started playing Neo 2 and he was streaming it to our Discord server, and I was watching him play. It was Kopi, and he was doing Switchglaive in the high stance, so he's using a fucking scythe. I used the scythe in a mid and low stance all game. So he starts doing this spinning move where he's like using it like a hook, and he's pulling enemies in. And I'm like, dude, that's a DLC weapon. How'd you get that? That's awesome. He's like, that's in the base game, and it's the high stance. I'm like, what? You know, it's crazy that he's playing a completely different way with a weapon I use to its fullest on the throughout my entire 90 hours of the game. That's fucking crazy to think about. Yeah, and all of them, by the way, because of the 3 stances, technically do that, especially when you add in another weapon and you add in the skills. Yeah, I've seen people play they'll be like, I wasn't good with the Odachi or whatever. I'm like, did you try this? And they're like, what do you mean? Where's that? And I'm like, oh, it's to the left of the skills. And they'll be like, oh shit. And they'll do it, and suddenly they're like, my God, it's completely different. And it's like, dude, I know it's. And again, I just feel it won't. Well, I hope, but I feel like, unfortunately, timing and Capcom's tremendously poor PR, it will just die. I don't know how well it sold. Who
sorry.
Who did the publishing for that? Team Ninja or Koei.
I brought it up. I brought up the wrong. I think it's Koei. Yeah, I brought up the wrong. Yeah, I can hope, but
yeah,
that's what I've been playing though.
All right. Well, with that, let's get into the news. We got a really exciting week to talk about ahead of us. So Bethesda is officially a part of Xbox, and honestly, there's just so much to go over. It's kind of crazy. So, of course, we now know that Bethesda games are going to be mostly exclusive to Xbox and PC. Phil said that they'll be exclusive to platforms where Game Pass exists. He said this during the Bethesda joins Xbox roundtable, where they clarified a lot of things. They teased a summer event, and we now have 20 brand new games on Game Pass. We have rumors now swirling about a March showcase from Xbox later this month, and that they want to sustain momentum and do small events every single month leading into E3 to excite people, which I think is a great plan. It actually reminds me of what the Nintendo Switch did back in 2017 when it launched. They had a new game, whether it was a port or a actual exclusive launch every month afterwards, and it made it very exciting to be in the ecosystem. So I think Xbox is honestly taking a page from that playbook. But right now, Bethesda is joined up. We know exclusives are in their future. We got big Game Pass editions. We know everything else day one is going to be there. They said they're going to honor any contractual obligations, and they said stuff about legacy content. And I wanted to start the conversation there because I was thinking about it last night. I don't know if you had this. I get very excited. It's pretty apparent. And then once I hit the sheets and I'm like, okay, it's time to go to bed, and I wander a little bit in my head, and I start thinking about it, it's like this rabbit hole, and you keep going deeper and deeper. And where my rabbit hole led me, because I was just very excited about everything, I'm like, what does Phil mean when he says we want to honor legacy games? Because maybe I'm just unfamiliar with terminology. I ended up looking it up, and I couldn't really find much on it. Does he mean something like a Doom 3? Does he mean something like older titles, or does he mean consistent titles like a Wolfenstein 2 and 1, where now the third one will also be multi-plat? Like, that's what I was really digging into, and I got to be completely honest, I couldn't find an answer for it. So I want to pick your brain about it a little bit on what exactly you took away from that statement, then we'll go deeper.
So just listening to the entire sentence, and then with legacy at the end, because that was one of the end things. Legacy usually means to Microsoft. So you have like older stuff that hasn't been covered somewhere else. So my assumption is you may see, let's say, like a Daggerfall port or something like that. You might see those Arena. There were rumors about Arena, people wanting to rework on something for that. Arena multiplayer was another rumor I heard last year, but that was prior to even knowing about Microsoft. And Bethesda, like them bouncing around. What I have heard was legacy to Microsoft really has nothing to do with, let's say, Fallout 4 and 5. It has to do with Fallout 1 and 2. It would have to do with those games that are legacy that are not. They are basically stating the legacy of all that stuff will continue to be supported and continue to be out there on stuff. So I would assume all ports will not. It's not all ports, because he also made that very clear. But I would assume that some of, like, if you get an old port of a game, could easily be on multiple systems. What Microsoft is not wanting to do is say, here is a title that really isn't going to sell a bunch, and it's only on Xbox. It makes no sense. But what they could do is say, here's a port, which we know everybody wants to get. That will be on everybody's system. But Fallout 5 will not be. And so to me, that's usually Microsoft, by the way, does term legacy. Only reason why is because they have multiple versions of their OS. And so you can go back and track what they mean by legacy versus what the word may mean. But because they work on stuff, they just mean the support of those legacy things will not stop. And I actually took that as a positive thing for those people who maybe wanted a Fallout 3 remaster.
Yes. Okay. So that's where my head was going. Okay.
Yeah. So if that's a thing, I do not believe Microsoft has ever stated we're going to hold a remake. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. Like, why? It's not going to sell a console, but it'll sell games. And I think people need to understand that Microsoft is in the business of doing both, but they're for sure in the business of their platform, right? And the idea of saying, hey man, everybody can get Fallout 3 is a lot different than saying everybody can get Fallout 5. And so that's the way I took. And when I did the same thing you did. I looked up online, but I looked it up as, what does Microsoft mean legacy when they talk about OS? Because that's the only language they know.
Okay.
They don't know like normal, because they've been around for so long. Their terminology is not what you and I would use. So that's what I took away from it.
Okay. Yeah. That's what I was thinking is the older stuff, but I wasn't sure. And I wanted your perspective on it before we continued, because a lot of people are really writing in big time about how we don't see Fallout 3, say, on Game Pass. We have Fallout 4, New Vegas, and 76, but no Fallout 3. Now, my assumption is maybe, and this would immediately be contradicted because I look at something like New Vegas, which is almost as old, but does this have something to do with like a musical license thing where you've got to up the licenses on those to put them on Game Pass? Because I believe New Vegas was already on Game Pass for a while, so perhaps when they acquired Obsidian, that was done years ago, and that was ready to go. But with Fallout 3 being a clear omission, Evil Within 2 also isn't there.
Right.
So
one of the Dishonored's is not there.
Death of the Outsider. Correct? Yeah. And I'm just wondering, I wonder what that can mean. I don't want to dig too deep on that. I don't think they're saying, oh, we're going to do a Fallout 3 remaster, and so we're not going to put the original Fallout 3 on Game Pass, because you look at Gears of War Ultimate Edition and they have the original Gears of War there from 360 if you want to play it on Game Pass. I just found it all very interesting how it's all playing out. Like, I thought Fallout 3 would be a guarantee there. But yeah, I just wanted to go ahead and pick your brain a little bit on the legacy content, because especially I was getting tweeted at that a lot. What do you think of this? What do you think of this? And so my original assumption was maybe this is the older content is going to still be multi-plat, and it seems like that would be the case. So for those listening, a Fallout 3 remaster or a Fallout 1-2 collection, something along those lines, would be multi-plat.
And there's a reason to back that up, because Steam now has Forza, and it's been 2 years, and Steam just got Forza. Like, Microsoft doesn't have an issue with that
Forza
stuff.
Horizon
What'd
4?
You say?
Do you see how many players Forza Horizon 4 has in total? The numbers came out. They've had 24 million players. Like, it's the most successful racing game, like, ever.
For Forza 4? Jesus. Yeah. Dude, it's phenomenal. That's what's stupid, is they're going to have a bitch of a time. We can talk about this later. Some companies make a game, and you have a bitch of a time afterwards. Witcher 4, for instance, will be hard. Like, what do you do? KOTOR 3. That, admittedly, that would be difficult. But you can't tell me that, like, that many on a racing game, that's redonkulous. And they still support it, by the way, all the time. Like, the amount of content in Forza is insane. And again, yeah, it's on Steam. Microsoft, in fact, has rolled a couple things out to Steam. Also, not to be too in-depth on this, Microsoft made it pretty clear when they said other platforms, when they were talking about Game Pass. So when you listen to Microsoft, when you listen to any PR person talk, usually you can do comparisons to how they categorize different things. Most likely, when he stated legacy content will be multi-platform, one of the things he was indicating is like Forza, and multi-platform is Steam. The reason why I bring that up is because he then separated Game Pass into its complete own part of a conversation.
Yep.
And the reason why you do that is because that has nothing to do with PlayStation. People forget that. It could also honestly do with Nintendo, but that's a whole other ball game. But it could also be the Samsung rumor that Samsung's got a Game Pass app, and TVs, but it doesn't always mean console as well. So what he said yesterday actually occurred last week, which is Forza going on Steam. So it seems like they're backing that up. It'll be nice, and it'll be nice to see. I want to see Fallout 3 on, working. I didn't know it had so many issues.
It does. That's the thing that I found very peculiar. I think if Bethesda is going to touch up any game of theirs,
that's the game, right?
I think so, yeah. I think that's the one that probably does best for them. I think Morrowind, as much as I would love to see Morrowind get a full kind of overhaul, you'd have to really tear out the system.
You'd have to remake it.
Yeah, you would, because a lot of, for example, for those who haven't played it, let's say you want to use a one-handed weapon. If you swing it and you miss, that's it, because it's always stat checking you per attack. And as your stats get better, you'll connect more. And there are mods that allow you to overhaul that. I play a modded version of Morrowind whenever I do fire it up. But point being is that you would have to undo all that skill system and reconfigure how the entire game works. And that game is gigantic, especially for its time. So that's a lot more difficult. There's something like Fallout 3, you could get away with, all right, let's touch up the graphics, bump up the frame rate, maybe add some cut content. Fallout 3 had a decent amount of cut content that you can replace in mods. It's stuff like weapons, armor.
Did it?
Yeah. Oh, it's actually pretty interesting.
Sorry.
Yeah, I did a whole couple of videos on the cut content from Fallout 3. If anyone wants to check it out, I would just play through the mods and look at the new weapons and stuff that were added in. They were the same models because they never completed them, so they were just, you know, a sledgehammer would just have a different name with different stats instead.
Gotcha.
But still, that type of stuff tickles my fancy. But I feel like with Fallout 3, you could get away with a remaster pretty easily. The only thing that is an issue is how far they want to take it, because Microsoft is, for example, showcasing FPS boost, and we just got the first handful of games that'll be benefiting from the FPS boost through Xbox, and it's actually pretty exciting. It's Fallout 4, Fallout 76, Skyrim Special Edition, Prey, and Dishonored Definitive Edition. So all of these are going to get a boost free of charge. And I thought that this was interesting because as we're starting to see Xbox push technology forward, you're starting to really invalidate what a traditional remaster would do. It's begging more from the content side, because originally it was enough to say, hey, we're going to bump up the textures, the resolution, and we're going to pump up this frame rate, and that'll be it. You'll be fine, right? Now Xbox is doing all of that free of charge, and you can get all these games through Game Pass. So it's an interesting conversation, because they could sort of have a reverse of what Aspire's doing with Republic Commando, because they're porting it to PlayStation and Switch, but on Xbox it's not getting anything. As far as I know, I don't know if it's going to get like an achievement update, but in the terms of how it looks, how it runs, because it's already uncapped, so it runs at 60 on Xbox. It's already been cleaned up through back compat, so it's all fine. Whereas on PlayStation and Switch, you're paying for it because, well, you need to buy those upgrades. So I'm curious to see how that will work. Let's say they do a Fallout 3 remaster. Are they going to say, well, through FPS boost and all of our auto HDR and everything, Fallout 3 is going to look like this, and you can just update for free. But if you're on PlayStation, you're paying. Does that present its own type of issue? It's because the whole thing with Aspire really shined a light on things, and then you've got Nintendo charging $60 for Skyward Sword HD, but whatever. What do you make of all that, though? Sorry for the long rant, but it's just, like, as you can tell, I've been laying in bed thinking about this all, because there's just so much to unpack with this deal in the future of games remaster, previous content merging with other IP.
Well, so it's Fallout 3, not New Vegas. That's not on there.
3 is not on there, correct.
And Evil Within 2, or both?
Just Evil Within 2. I have Evil Within downloaded, actually.
So Evil Within, okay. And then also Death of the Outsider.
Correct.
The weird thing about all those is they all share the fact that they're a part of a series, which is weird to me. Because, like, if it was, I can't think of one, but if there was a one-off, you'd be like, oh, technically, there might be this or that. Those three are odd, especially Death of the Outsider, when Dishonored is on there. And it's obvious that it's the same graphics. It's the same engine, right? It's the same everything. Has anybody actually asked? I mean, obviously people tweeted Bethesda. Has Bethesda answered at all why Fallout 3, one of their premier games, is not? But I will say this before you answer. People need to remember Microsoft did screw up Fallout 3 completely with games for Windows. Right? So is there something going on in Fallout 3 that maybe... Because I don't know if you remember, but Fallout 3, Fallout 3 not only has an issue with games for Windows, but there was something with licensing for a while. So maybe that licensing thing is continuing, at least on that game, but not with Evil Within 2. There's no licensing for Evil Within 2. And there's no licensing for Death of the Outsider. So why hold those? Like, those are three really odd titles to hold back.
I do know the Evil Within has, but this one makes sense because the first one has it, that cut from that song, the piano that plays when you're in like in the first one, you're in that kind of like prison area. the hub area where you sit in the chair and you upgrade your character. And, it's like that. Dun,
Okay.
dun,
Yeah.
dun.
You mean that song?
Yeah. Is that holding up like the Evil Within 2 maybe? I don't know why one would be there.
But you said it's in. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just an idea. And I was just double checking to make sure, and I don't see anyone really saying why officially Fallout 3 is not on Game Pass. And so people are looking forward to it. There's tons of like tweets of folks saying like, oh, I can't wait to try out Fallout 3 on Game Pass. But no one's really answering why it's not there.
I'm just gonna look and see if like I'm missing something.
And now it's a little more interesting because as I said, sorry.
Okay. You might be saying the same thing I'm gonna say. Go ahead. I just saw something pop up.
I was just gonna say it's interesting just because 76 and Fallout 4 have 60 FPS, which I think is different from what you were gonna say.
So here's yes. Fallout 3 was on Game Pass.
Huh. So it's off?
Fallout 3 has been removed from Game Pass, and it looks like it was removed March 18th, 2020. So there is absolutely no licensing reason that was removed. Or sorry, at that time, okay, wait a minute. Fallout 3 and Oblivion both got removed.
Oblivion's there now.
At that time, but Oblivion's back. Okay. That might be. There's only two ways to go about it. One, it's licensing. Two, they're redoing something. Like that. That would be
my assumption.
But what if they were like, boom, mods work in Fallout 3 with Creative Club?
Because
it's currently
Creation
not,
Club
right?
I wouldn't, but if mods I would.
It's because it's currently not, right? Well, the reason why I bring that up is because that would be Bethesda probably trying to work it into Creation Club because it's already got their other games, but it's currently not mod supported, right, on console. Or if I have the disc, dude, what if they were like, we're testing out mods, because Metro, we talked about this in Defining Duke. Metro, those guys are like, hey man, they contact us about mods. I found out from another developer yesterday who will announce in the next couple of weeks that they were talking about mods. So mods might be a thing. This could all be licensing. Ignoring that for a second, it could also be that maybe they're putting a front end together for something because Evil Within has mods. Death of the Outsider.
Does the article you're looking at mention that it's on PC Game Pass or is it just console? Because I think you were hitting on something with Games for Windows Live. I forgot about that because anytime I play it, I mod it
just
out.
says removed from Game Pass, unfortunately. But yes, Game for Windows Live was a biatch, and I believe it was this was talking about the Xbox only version, saying it was there and now it's gone. I don't know if it was it ever on PC version of Game Pass.
Yeah, because I think if it weren't there, that would make sense because I feel like that would need to work around it somehow.
Yeah, and that was the licensing issue because they can't crack it, by the way.
Yeah,
because if they do, then everybody would have it. You have to build in a new like a new security around it. So I don't know. It could be. Games for Windows Live caused a lot of issues for Fallout 3, man.
Yeah,
because you couldn't even sign in. I remember people just, dude, what a disaster!
I can't fucking play it on PC hardly. It's ridiculous.
So what does it do? Does it just crash out if you try to play it?
Yeah, if I load it up on, say, Steam, it'll crash out. On GOG, I want to see. That's the thing. That's funny. Now that I think about it, on GOG, I hit play and that's it. It's open.
Well, GOG. Their promise is no DRM.
Yeah, I was going to say, I felt it was connected to that, but
Microsoft's promise is for sure DRM. So just so you know, Game Pass is, Windows Store and all that and their new format for files, as modders have bitched about for a while, is anti-adjustant, and anti-piracy. So maybe there's something there. I don't know, man. It's weird. Those are weird titles. It's Fallout 3, dude. There isn't a weirder title. It would be Skyrim and Fallout 3.
Yeah, that's why
either one of those.
It's just very
one of those two.
It's very peculiar because you bring up a good point with the modders. I've been contacted by a lot of modders over the last number of months with the Bethesda thing because they're worried that so many people are going to get the game through Game Pass that modding will be very difficult for them because, like you said, you can't really tamper with the files. It's a completely different process compared to when you own the game.
Sorry.
What's up?
I apologize. That popped during my podcast. They're moddable. I forgot.
Oh, really?
Yes, the Game Pass. Give me 1 second. I was in the middle of my podcast and somebody's like, "Holy shit, those are moddable."
I know they're moddable. I don't think they work the same way as, say, if you were on Nexus and you were going through your Steam version. Yeah, because like apparently it's a lot more difficult, is what I was told.
It is. Yeah, it is definitely more difficult on Windows Store.
Yeah, and so because like in your Steam version, you just drop into your data folder most times, or you literally have a installer that'll do it for you, and that type of stuff is great. But that is another concern for the future of Bethesda games, which I've been told by a lot of modders they're worried about. So I get why Xbox has it locked down, but hopefully enough people buy the game so that people can engage in mods a little bit more. I'm sure Bethesda wants that because it gets people to try it on Game Pass and then eventually buy in and have the game, which is kind of the goal of Game Pass. Compel you to go beyond the rental, pretty much. But yeah, overall, what do you, moving on, we have 20 of these games on Game Pass, but what I thought was more interesting is Phil's terminology when he said that we want these games exclusive on platforms where Game Pass exists. His new way of speaking is referring to Game Pass as not a service, a part of a platform, but a platform in itself. And I thought that was really, really interesting because it puts the heat on PlayStation in a fucking stroke of brilliant kind of way, where you think to yourself, if they're sitting there and they want Xbox or Bethesda games, and I guess in turn Xbox games, you got to allow Game Pass on. And I just thought that was a really interesting approach to things because it was almost a snide. I don't like to be antagonistic, like not a call out, but this is how it's going to be. If you want these games, you have to have Game Pass, and so if PlayStation wants them bad enough, that's how they'll get them. And I'm sure Xbox would be more than open to that because that'll be a ton of revenue in their pocket. But PlayStation would clearly never do that, which I think leaves them in a position where we're not going to really see much in the sense of Bethesda games on PlayStation in the future. But what do you make of Game Pass becoming so big that it's this platform now? Like it's that gigantic at this point. He breathes. He ponders.
Well, I just read something where you're talking, so it just got bigger.
Oh.
But somebody just leaked a email where it says a new game's been confirmed. Come into the service. Keep it confidential. Has anyone else noticed a mysterious signal appearing in the distance lately? Or am I an anomaly in this situation, which is the wording from Outriders, Square's new game? And that Melissa, the head of PR, just leaked that. So if Outriders comes, then I guess Sony and Nintendo have to do something. I mean, where are we at now? Like that, wow. And now it's stupid. It was already stupid this morning, but it's like at some point, I would assume, like if you're discussing like what other companies can do and whatever, I just think that one big thing Sony needs to do, especially if Outriders comes, and that's on Game Pass, that's ridiculous. I think Sony needs to relook at their entire way they do their online service. Do you want me to send you that tweet?
Yeah, I was actually I had my head down. I was looking for it. DM it to me on Twitter because I have my phone. I forgot my iPad today.
Yeah, no worries. I'll do it right now. So I think that what I would like Sony to do is that's DM to you. What I would like Sony to do now is they don't need to one for one because they've got their own shit. They've got amazing stuff. What they need to do is continue to fix their online service. So PSN needs to be, continually restructure that, make sure that they're always offering really, really amazing stuff there. And then in all honesty, I would like to see them do some. So Sony's always been really good with third-person action adventure games. You've got your Horizon Zero Dawn, your Spider-Man. What I would like to see them do is something a little bit different, but still give whatever different thing they're doing the same kind of attention. And I think that's where Sony can end up nailing it, is they don't all have to be third-person action adventure games. They don't have to be your Tomb Raider, style of cut. I would like to see them look more at racing. Sony they've got Gran Turismo, but they got rid of Drive Club, and I think Gran Turismo has its own layer of technical cake to get through. I'd like to see them do that. Also, nobody's pioneered the fighting game right now. There's nobody who's sort of leading the charge on the fighting game. And I think the fighting community is just now starting to figure out COVID. So I would like to see Sony or Microsoft embrace the fighting community. And I'd like to see a couple fighting games. I don't know if they'll be exclusive, but I think with Sony, they don't really need to do anything as much as just continually impress people with like Horizon Zero Dawn and that kind of stuff. They've got their own thing. Because it's hard to keep up with Game Pass. Game Pass now seems to be its own thing. And am I wrong on that? Because even the people in the tweet are stating Outriders.
Yeah, I was literally looking at that right now. Some people said maybe Mass Effect because of the anomaly and that type of thing.
Oh my God, what if the Mass Effect trilogy's on there?
The Legendary Edition? Yeah, because they already have Mass Effect or EA Play. So.
They do. Yep. So here's the thing. Whatever option is the one that's coming is the new game. So it's either Outriders or it's Mass Effect trilogy.
I would be
Legendary Edition.
I'd be so shocked if it were Outriders because Square Enix has seemed to be all PlayStation lately. And I get it. Like, you want more people to play Outriders because Outriders, I think their demo had 2 million players. And that's good, but 2 million people downloaded a free couple of hour thing. I imagine just by how numbers work in general, I don't know if you're going to see more people buy it than that. Maybe that's a bad assumption on my part.
No, it's not a bad assumption. And dude, Game Pass works for online games.
So yeah, that's what I'm saying. It seems like maybe an opportunistic move by Square Enix. Certainly I don't want to read too deeply between the lines because we were just, I said it last year. I thought Bethesda was really reaching hard by saying Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo were these exclusive games. I thought it was kind of weird because they were on this roll, and then suddenly they have these 2 brand new IPs, and they're like, yeah, these are both PlayStation exclusive, where then we didn't expect any type of Bethesda Xbox deal to go through, and suddenly it does. And so... Yeah, it's just strange, man.
That's just weird news to pop while we were in the podcast.
I was about to say, that said an hour ago, so that must have been right when we started. Which is kind of interesting.
It was, yeah. I actually got a DM where somebody's like, does this mean Outriders? And I'm all, I mean, you're right. The anomaly in the distance, I don't know, man. I mean, again, it's one or the other, right?
I'd say
and
so.
And both of them are new. So it's like, that's a huge get. Like,
that's a really good point. No matter what, it's kind of a day one win for whoever wants to try it out.
Exactly. It's like, if it's Mass Effect, that's huge.
I'd be so shocked
for them and MS.
Effect,
and
though.
If it's, dude, I wouldn't. EA worked with fucking Microsoft 3 years prior to PlayStation. 2 years, sorry. They were combined with Microsoft for 2 full years.
Yeah,
so
it's just wow. Mass Effect is going to sell so well, you'd imagine. Not that it's always about sales, just it's already such a widely known thing. I feel like the new IP would want more people on board, and more that'd be my prediction. I would love to see Mass Effect there because I've been pioneering or parading all over my channel of how good I think the series is, and there's an audience there that's hungry for more, and so to get that to more people is also excellent. It'll be very interesting to see for that though. That's a good thing to have break during the show. Good thing you brought that up.
Yeah, I'm glad I saw that.
Yeah. When it comes to the summer showcase, that was teased as well during this Bethesda Joins Xbox roundtable. They said that they're looking into something. They're in the planning phase right now. And so the rumor has been that they are going to do a 1-2 punch, Xbox and then Bethesda, with back-to-back showcases on sequential days. What do you think would be the best route? Not to turn this into an interview. I feel like I'm just saying things and then asking you your thoughts, but what do you think is the best route for these companies moving into reveal spaces? Keeping them separate or putting them together? Or case by case, as Phil would say? Or not those 3?
I don't know. Maybe, it depends. If it's just Bethesda and them, but there's all these other, I don't know. I would like to I would like any company, if there's a summer showcase, this will be this will be other indies, right? It's not just going to be Microsoft, or is this Microsoft exclusive again? Is this Microsoft stuff? Just Micro?
The summer showcase?
Yeah.
It's expected to be just Microsoft and then
Jesus.
Bethesda. I mean, Microsoft definitely has enough to show off on third-party and first-party exclusive capacity.
That's what I think. So we talked about this about a year ago, where I was saying that I don't think people understand how games are released, where it's like leap years. Well, you do, because you cover a Bethesda, where you're like, okay, so every 4 years, right? And so, or whatever, and you sort of know their time. What was going on here is last year and the year prior was like Sony. And then this year's obviously, and next year looked to be like Microsoft, just because of how years work and how development works.
Yeah,
they've got so much to show.
Things coming around the bend, for sure.
Yeah, and who's developing what. But they've got so much to show. I would like whatever they do show at the summer showcase to be surprising stuff that maybe... It would be sort of cool to see. Microsoft is big on showing like some of these smaller games, like an Ori. Well, that's not small now, but it was small then.
For sure.
And then Cuphead. I would like to see Microsoft, what they're doing on the side that isn't called Bethesda.
See, it's funny you bring that up, because I'm sitting here thinking that I wonder if Microsoft is going to reach for an announcement involving Bethesda. By that, I mean, because we've seen them kind of announce shit way too early, in my opinion. And I feel like of anything you're going to announce early, something from this partnership would probably be a good move, because people want to see it. They want that immediacy. Not that I want them to act hasty. I think them being patient and playing the long game is paying off now. But we've seen them announce Fable way too early, Hellblade 2 way too early, where these games just appear and you're like, oh, it's happening, and then it's gone for a while. I think we'll keep our Fallout or Elder Scrolls Tactics examples going. I think if one of them came out and said, like, we're doing this, and it was just a pure concept trailer, that would be actually really awesome, I think, because it would show, like, I think it'd be here's what's something that's coming between the both of us now.
Yeah, and it would be cool if it wasn't the ones we know about. Mm-hmm. So, like, what if they were like Daggerfall remake, or I don't know. I don't know all of, but Bethesda, by the way, and you know this, but Bethesda's published some weird ass games in the years ago.
We love Rogue Warrior.
And yeah, right. Like, there you go. Like, what if they were like, yeah, Rogue Warrior 3? I don't know. It's probably on 3. But can you imagine?
Oh my God.
Because I don't think Game Pass, ignoring that for a second, just because that you could say, oh, Rogue Warrior 3 could possibly benefit from that, whatever, everything can. But I think that one thing I would like to see, and it feels like Bethesda's okay with doing, is occasionally doing something that's like, off to the side, not what's expected. So that would be cool. I would love to see something that is not just called Skyrim, or Fallout, something that I don't know, that I don't have their IPs in front of me, but there's enough there. They did Barbie, I think. I could be wrong on that, but they've done some crazy shit.
They did Terminator.
It would be cool. They did Terminator. Like, dude, there's so many games that these companies, Sony, Nintendo, all sit on, and we all sit here and go, man, I wish they'd do it. And then we also celebrate their Skyrim 2s, or remakes. But it would be cool in the summer showcase to see something crazy. I agree what you're saying. Well, that they might reach and do Bethesda. I was going on what I would like to see,
right,
versus what I think we'll probably see. I would love to see support for games that you just don't wouldn't, just to make everybody go, what? We don't have that right now. I mean, this is a what? This combination and all that stuff. Would love to see it from a company. Just have everybody, I felt that way with Raven Rabbids, where I remember going like, what the fuck? And that one didn't even really capture me instantly, but I was still like surprised. I like to be surprised, and I feel like we're not much. It'd be fun to see at Microsoft's event.
Raving Rabbids is just a not talked
I know I brought it up
enough.
3 times
no,
already.
I'm just saying it's only on our show. It's not talked about enough publicly on how monumental of a fucking moment that game was. It really isn't. And so that's why I think you and I have this kind of childlike excitement for Bethesda and Xbox, because Xbox seems to like to say, hey, let's take these two things that make no sense and put them together. Let's do Halo Wars. Let's do Gears Tactics. And then Bethesda has had a willingness to try, albeit not what I think has been well-executed experiments, but Fallout Online. Let's try Wolfenstein, but it's co-op.
Well, Fallout Shelter was
Fallout
super
Shelter
popular,
was,
right?
Yeah.
I mean, Blades is probably still popular.
Blades is popular. Blades is such a good-looking game for mobile. It's a shame that they just like really
monetize the shit out of that, right?
They bottleneck the fuck out of you once you like get in there and you start moving with the systems and you start building parts of your town up. It just immediately just narrows and you're like, you gotta wait, or you got that cash. Come on, and
the summer event. I don't know what this entails because I haven't really tracked anything about Microsoft in the summer event, but I would love to see also Microsoft aiming for things that they are way ahead of everybody else. For example, the accessibility controller. I would like to see them. I would like to see showcases on that, because a lot of times you'll see the accessibility controller. Those people who have accessibility issues definitely enjoy it. It's awesome. They for sure should. I would like to see how, and I would like to see Microsoft do even more of that, because that's where one place where I feel that maybe Sony and Nintendo don't get it. I could be wrong, but I just feel like they don't. They're always behind. Nintendo, let's talk about Nintendo first. They're behind on everything. They don't even understand how to do online. Yeah. Oh, like, for example, the Switch has nothing. It doesn't even help able-bodied gamers. We have difficulty holding it, right? Like, it's got all these issues. So, Nintendo, what if they were like, hey, here's cradles, here's different things that you like. It's just not supported. And I have friends who have physical disabilities, and it bothers me that somebody has to play, not that they have to play the Xbox, but the only place they can go is that. They actually cannot go currently to a Switch or a PlayStation. And so I would, in the future, I hope those other guys do that too. I think that'd be a big deal.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's one thing that I've always admired about Xbox is that accessibility controller is kind of a thing of magic. And for a lot of people, it is really a special tool. And they've made some good Xbox Wire articles highlighting it. And I think they've got their head in the right place there. They've also made some updates to their Windows Store and stuff globally. I saw MrMattyPlays make a article about it, which made it a lot more accessible globally, where you could select languages in the store and that type of stuff that was previously not there. And that's a pretty big omission years later. So it's good that they finally got around to it, where I think they are trying to. I think it's very telling as they expand. I almost said expand. As they expand much more, that they can tell their reach is getting there, and they need to have these types of things in place. You know, have accessibility for those who maybe aren't able, and have what's it called? A store that should have been like this way. So I'm not going to pat them on the back too much, but a storefront that is much more accessible to different audiences around the globe, and that could be telling for future moves, right? Something like bringing in more Japanese gamers through Sega, as a lot of us have assumed.
And that's the thing, is I just don't think the console manufacturers have been forced to do it. And PC, I can find anything, Maddie. So, for example, I should bring it out one of these days. I will, but I have like a 100 button USB device. It's just 100 buttons, no keys. It's just 100 buttons, and I can macro anything.
Oh, okay.
Anything. The inability to like do that kind of stuff on consoles is the very fucking reason why a number of people have to do the PC stuff, and why you see PC builds for disabled, differently abled, I think is what we're saying, differently abled people. And I just think all that kind of stuff. Did you see somebody beat Last of Us blind? Did you see that shit?
Yes, actually. Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, like, Last of Us has fantastic accessibility options.
Last of Us is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
It's got like all the colorblind settings. It's got the sound. I think he played it by sound. I could be wrong, but I think The Last of Us, like, they use like an echolocation if you're blind, and vibration. Like, dude, I don't know.
That's phenomenal. I give them credit for that. That's phenomenal.
Awesome. So do I, because how many there, admittedly it's business, but I mean, how many people out there, don't have, and there's a lot of military people I know where they like, they're hurt in the military and they get home, and it's, people don't realize, like, you and I can grab a book, right, and read. And as somebody who lost their vision, I can tell you, there's nothing worse than suddenly being blind. It's ruinous. Like, if that had lasted much longer for me, it would have been a disaster. And these people, they come home from a war or whatever, they can't there's certain things that they can't do, and other than PC, there's nowhere for them to go. And I think it's time for that to switch. Also, voice commands. Like, that's another thing. Sony's got this PS5. You have the PS5, right?
Yep.
Okay. So the PS5 is pretty awesome controller. Everybody likes the
DualSense,
the adaptive, but it's got a mic, right? Why does Sony not say, we're gonna turn off trophies? Admittedly, you don't have to, but you can say, we're gonna turn off trophies, but you can use voice commands for some stuff that's really, like cumbersome or whatever, for somebody to hit buttons, those kind of things.
I know PS4 had voice commands. I don't know if 5 does, because what happens is PS4, I'll put my controller down and I'll see everything highlight, and they'll say, speak what you want to do. And
you're right. I don't maybe know. PS5. Right.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know if PS5 has it, but I also don't know what button I press to bring it up, which is, I don't really need it. So that's part of the reason why, but, yeah, that's one. I don't know if PS5 actually ended up packaging that in. I don't know. PS5 kind of launched with some weird omissions. One of them being holding the PS button to turn it off. That was a pretty significant one to just forget.
Dude, it's so weird. It's so weird. And, they have their hardware issue, and then Microsoft's recording sucks. Microsoft is Windows, guys. How they couldn't figure out that you shouldn't be able to record longer than like 30 seconds is beyond me. Like, both these systems, for supposedly being delayed, have insane omissions that point to them not being the issue. It's very odd in some of the stuff.
Forgetful.
And Switch has nothing.
Yeah, Switch has nothing. I'm trying to think. Is there anything? Let's see here. We have Game Pass exclusives, Windows Central Gaming Summer Event. I feel like we've touched on everything. Yeah. All right. Well, it was a good talk. Let's move on into our next bit of news. Let's talk about Dying Light 2. So, for those who have not been paying attention to Dying Light 2, this is a game that's been gone for a while. It's undergone a lot of circulation of staff, so to say, people leaving in mass, and so it's been not a smooth sailing ride for them since their big reveal to the public. And I saw this game behind closed doors at 2018. I was really excited about it. But what happened was today, as we got ready to record this show, there was a Dying Light 2 update on Twitter. They said, we've got a few words to share with you about the Dying Light 2 development process. Be sure to be with us next Wednesday. Want to see it first? Join our Discord server at discord.gg/dyinglight. So this sounds like a new reveal of some kind, a update, of course, as they say on the development process, but it sounds like when you first read the two sentences, we have a few words to share with you about Dying Light 2. Be sure to be with us next Wednesday. It sounds like, oh boy, this might not be good. But they're saying, want to see it first. See it as in something first. Do you think it may be the trailer or a update of some kind on a release date? What do you think is going on? Because when we last talked about this, it was on Defining Duke. There was a huge write-up. It was just 2 weeks ago when Fighting Cowboy, 2 episodes ago when Fighting Cowboy was on. And I went through the whole thing, and there was a lot of disgruntled employees who were saying that the head of the studio was like taking ideas that they saw through games like The Witcher and changing development, and the story had been written like 6 times over, and there was a joke in the office that an idea that went through a month ago could be pulled out. And so it seems like a game that was in disarray. So a lot of people were very excited about this, but I also think it's a lot of people who missed that story. So if you have yet to see it, it is a big write-up by The Gamer. It's of course, a news outlet for gaming. Go ahead and read their whole entire piece on Dying Light 2. They interviewed a ton of people, including the man being accused for disrupting the development, which I thought was pretty good journalism there, because oftentimes they just say, here's the bullshit, here's what's happening, and that's
a good point.
And they just leave them to respond publicly later. In this case, they were like, hey, dude, you got people talking some shit. What do you think about this? And so he defended his actions, saying that development is like this, and that, sometimes it's chaotic, and, tried to lay down some line of protection to himself. There's also another issue where he had hired his wife to do HR, and sometimes people would hesitate going to the husband for the idea, so they go to her, and they would hope that she would go to him and convince him of these ideas that people had for the game. So it's a very strange development for a game, and of course, not all of us have eyes on the walls inside some of these studios where maybe this is, I won't say common, but weird scenarios like this pop up more often than we think, but definitely very strange. And so with all of that, now we know, hey, we're getting some more words, as Techland would say, on Dying Light 2. Where is your interest level for this game as it stands?
It was 0 until you just stated that they say, see it first. So they say that?
Yes, it says, want to see it first, join our Discord server.
Dude, then it can't be what I thought it was. That makes no sense. What I told you prior, what I thought it was, so. That's impossible. It doesn't make any sense. It can't be like a delay. Want to see it, unless they're saying want to see the video first, but man, that's just horribly written if they're saying that. Like, want to see the video about our delay first?
I was going to say, want to see our delay first. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked. That's why I said, you were like, it can't be that. I said,
Discord.
don't be too surprised. It's the games industry. I always say, that it's the one industry where things will happen that make no fucking sense.
Yeah, admittedly.
And they happen consistently, where it's like, oh, this is the very obvious move. We shouldn't word it this way. Want to see it first for our delay notice.
I'm going to assume it's positive.
I'll
come out of this one.
Yeah.
I'll bet that it is positive just because of what you just read, which I somehow missed. Want to see it first. My assumption is it will be a want to see what it looks like now that Chris Avallon's stuff is removed, and it'll be a sort of a Dying Light 2 trailer remix.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I'm going to go with that just because that writing makes no friggin' sense if that's not what it is.
Funny enough, Xbox responded to this saying we'll start shambling that way now.
What?
Yeah, and I don't know, man. I'm just saying there's been connections to them in Techland for a while, and I don't want to speculate too hard. But yeah, I don't want to speculate too hard, but I don't know, man. With those rumors popping up, I don't know.
Does Micro? Okay, so this with the Outriders thing is. Oh wait, you know what, dude? If I'm wrong, I think I'm right. I think the following, which is DLC for Dying Light 1, mentions a beacon. And so what we may be seeing is what I thought was Outriders could be Dying Light. Give me 1 second.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. I man, it's been a while. I played a demo for the following, but not the full thing. Yo, the amount of people who are just like, I'm reading replies and they're saying like, buy Techland and fund them. Like, dude, what the fuck?
No.
People need to stop this. They need to cut it out.
I guess I'm wrong. Beacon's not mentioned in Dying Light's, like, you know, the overall narrative. I just typed, I'm looking for like fiction.
And
that just happened now while we were in the...
Well, yeah. This was a couple hours ago. This one, I saw, hey, Dying Light 2 news. A couple of people tagged me in it. It's like, all right, cool. But now seeing Xbox respond, I feel like paints a whole layer on it.
Or we'll go with this. It could just be positive and it could just be shown on Xbox Series X.
Hey, all I'm saying is maybe we talked about that summer showcase, and we also talked about a March event for Xbox. It is possible that this does have an extended preview there with a, like, it's coming to Game Pass or something along those lines.
I think people need to be prepared. I saw somebody bitching about this on one of my videos or one of my comments. People need to be prepared that for at least a week or two, there's going to be some confusion on what is what, because a big news broke and there were some people who were surprised. We weren't, but there were some people who were surprised, and it's going to take a while to figure out what is a tweet anymore.
You're not
the
wrong.
honest, right? So when combined media events happen, that can be confusing. So this could be nothing. What I was going to ask was, does Microsoft frequently tweet, retweet, or respond to third-party games getting random trailers. And I've never seen that before. What I mean by that is, has Sega said, here's the new, or Bandai said, here's the new EDF, and Microsoft says, beaming up, we'll be on our way. I do not think Microsoft normally responds to third-party games in that way. I could be wrong. Maybe they do. But that's where there's some confusion, so people understand when they're listening. It's a little confusing to know what Microsoft does and what any of these companies do. And maybe it means nothing. That's another thing. It'll just take a while for us to figure it out. What? Did something else pop up?
No. Oh. I'm just like, it's exciting at the end of the day. It's exciting.
It's very exciting.
I think the energy would be different in this case if it were PlayStation. Be like, okay, cool. But because we've had this, we went through a whole generation, myself included, saying this, of the words Xbox has no games. To see them kind of get aggressive, and I don't want to assume too deeply with Dying Light 2, but we have heard rumors. But I really do think, it's fun to see them go after some things. And because I think it makes it a more interesting generation, right? I mean, we went through a whole... Okay, look, Game Pass is fantastic. Wonderful service. Best service in gaming. And it carries a lot of weight now, especially for Microsoft at this point in time where it's more exciting than ever. But throughout the whole generation, at the end of the day, people care about games as well. And so, not that Microsoft didn't have good games. They did. They had Ori. They had Gears Tactics, Microsoft Flight Simulator last year. I thought Sunset Overdrive was great. I mean, they did have some good games throughout their generation. But, of course, PlayStation was kind of beating them over the head for most of that with their exclusives. So it's just really nice to see them look at some talent and say, like, hey, what can we do to start competing and start rewarding our player base? Because I feel like they were kind of being negligent. They were doing some right things, setting up a value package. I thought All Access was great. I think Game Pass, once again, is great. But it's been really nice to see them say, like, okay, now let's deliver on, you've invested in our system for its value. Here are some goodies only you will get, at least for a time period, which has been long overdue.
Yeah, and all these will be available on old systems too. Sony, Microsoft, which is also a big positive because Microsoft's done the Series X and PlayStation's done the PlayStation 5, but 95.9%, maybe 98% of all the games that are being announced are still on all of them, which is sort of cool too. Somebody doesn't have to jump if they don't want to. I think it's just going to take a little while. It's a lot of chaff right now of figuring out who's doing what. And in Sony trying to buy the Starfield, what do you call it? The Starfield exclusivity. One thing people don't remember is there was a lot of bogus rumors about Sony spending way more than there were. And by the way, some of these were from huge PR people, journalists who were like, oh yeah, Sony's spending more than Microsoft combined on blah, 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 and all this stuff. And the Bethesda stuff kept getting pushed. People are like, nah, it's probably not happening, blah, blah, blah. I think you're probably seeing a push-pull where Sony has been out there, and we're going to get some announcements from Sony for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure. But I think you do see something unique playing out where Nintendo's Direct, it's almost like they're not ready for a new system yet. Or not a new system, I'm sorry, a new gen. Nintendo's Direct was pretty laid back. And like you said, Nintendo did what Nintendo does. And they're like, here's a report for $60, right? Mm-hmm. And then Sony says, here's a state of play. And they don't really do anything there. They did do the Final Fantasy, but they also paid for the exclusivity of Final Fantasy as a whole as well. And we haven't heard anything about the Xbox version of that yet. So it's interesting because I think what we're seeing is just timing on some of this stuff where it's coming up and it just seems like Sony's not doing anything. It'll be very cool to see what Sony has, worked on in this entire interim because they're not going to stop. And then you see Microsoft getting Major League Baseball or whatever that Sony game is. Showtime.
The show, yeah.
The show, which has never happened. You see Sony going on PC. people don't realize we are entering 2021 end of, and then 2022 is going to be a different console situation than ever before, because you had streaming, you had Sony on PC, which has never happened before. It just hasn't.
Yeah.
And it is now. And there's a reason why, because the console gamer is no longer enough for any of the companies, including Nintendo. So we're going to see what they try to do. It's going to be awesome. Dude, Nintendo's not going to, I mean, they get away with it, right? And they sell, but at some point people will go Game Pass, all these games, Bethesda games, right? Sony exclusives, Spider-Man 2, whatever. Switch, low power, old games or reboots that are 60 that I've played, no online that works. Do you see what I'm saying? Like it might take a while, but there will be a time where people, because by the way, the N64 didn't sell well. The Wii U didn't sell well. It's not like Nintendo hasn't faced failure. People will get fed up. And especially when all these other companies are adding value, it just feels like we're coming into something huge for gaming. Huge. Especially with Sony doing PC.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, Sony doing PC's legit. Like, ignore Xbox for a second. Sony doing PC, never. Dude, I remember an XPR person for Sony going like, console exclusive, those games can't even be done on any, and there's PS4, by the way. They were like, never be done. It's impossible. And now
here we are. I mean, it seems so obvious because I feel like half of it was a pride battle. It seems like
it was.
These games are no longer selling, and I'm sure for once maybe shareholders could have benefited, like maybe had some positive input of, hey, you could be making a lot more for all of us if you decided let's move these to PC, and generate some revenue on otherwise dormant products that people are going to buy.
Dormant's a good word, by the way. We should use that from now on. Dormant.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good word because it's still there, but it's not selling as well. And
yeah, like everyone, Days Gone, I'm sure there are tons of people who are hearing from many people, this is a hidden gem. It's really good. Didn't get a fair shot. And hearing it coming to PC, people are going to say, I'm going to support the fuck out of them. I want a Days Gone 2. I'm going to get that game on PC as well. And there's people who are going to say, hey, I love a hidden gem. Like, people love that punching above your weight kind of story. I'm going to get that. Yeah. Or, hey, I've heard good things. I'm going to get this. And it could bring that series to new heights, right? Now,
I agree.
That series we thought was going to do... Actually, I don't think we actually said it was going to do bad. We said we were unsure where it would place and ended up over-delivering on how many sales it really had. Really showcasing, I think, the strength of just PlayStation exclusives. And so now Days Gone may be even more popular than many other PlayStation IP, just because of the fact that it's now on PC. It's been traveling through word of mouth. And I think that's really exciting. So we'll see. But
I just think we need to move on, from like the worry about like... Dude, there's so many games. New companies will want to work with Sony only. New companies will want to work with Microsoft, with Nintendo to replace some of the exclusives. These companies are moving around, but I saw people who were like, "I'm selling my PS5 or whatever," and I'm like, "Dude, seriously, man, seriously." First of all, that's one game, so calm the fuck down. So anyway, interesting time.
All right, moving on from Dying Light 2. Let's take a look at Square Enix, whatever you'd like to call them, whatever your choice of words is. So the boys behind and girls behind, of course, the likes of Final Fantasy, Kingdom Hearts, many JRPGs, Avengers, they're doing their own little showcase. They tweeted out, "Let's go." Debuting March 18th at 10 a.m. Pacific time, the first digital direct Square Enix presents the world premiere of the Next Life is Strange, with a 40-minute lineup set of new trailers, announcements from many of our upcoming titles. And so they post a picture. It says world premiere of a brand new Life is Strange, also featuring Outriders, Marvel's Avengers, Tomb Raider 25th anniversary, new Square Enix Montreal games, Just Cause Mobile, Balan Wonderworld, and I do remember getting a PR email that had that whole list, and they said, and more. So I anticipate more announcements and reveals at this event here. That's not anything confidential, by the way, just so people know. So what do you where do you sit on this? New Life is Strange is exciting. That is making a lot of fucking noise for a game series that I thought overall was sort of the first one was excellent. We talk about it a lot. It did well. They did a second one. Yeah. I don't think it hit as hard. I don't think it, as far as I know, captured the widespread attention. I know it captured an audience, like a very particular audience, which is awesome because I think those games do serve a very vital purpose. But I think mainstream-wise and people talking about it and lots of thousands and thousands of players, I wasn't really seeing that. But it's all I've seen on my timeline since its announcement. And I know you love Life is Strange 1 alongside me. So,
I can't wait.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, let's hear it. You know, what do you – they said it's a new protagonist, like a new location and everything. And isn't that kind of strange how I'm glad they didn't kind of drag out what Life is Strange
Max
1 was? Yeah, right.
Max and Chloe, right?
And instead they're just making this universe of I always go to this series because I feel it's the only one I can always think of, but a Final Fantasy where it's a new story, location, setting, characters, everything per entry. So we're also getting new Avengers content. I mean,
yeah,
that's kind of surprising.
Did you play Captain Awesome? Did you play the free Life is Strange?
Yeah.
I liked that.
Yeah, I did too. That was solid.
Okay. So number 2 was too on the nose, man. Like it just did not have any of a series of what I mean is Life is Strange season 2 was too on the nose. It didn't have any subtlety where I think the first one had a lot. And then that free one was weird because it was like, why did they do a free one? There was no PR about it. It was like, here's a free Life is Strange, and you beat it, right? I'm not gonna. Okay, so at the end, I'm not gonna ruin this for anybody. I'm just gonna say it. So I don't think this is a spoiler. It's a free game. Just go play it. It's not connected to anything right now. But at the very end, he levitates that girl. So you think he's got superpowers. Or sorry, he thinks he's got superpowers and you don't know if he does.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end, he does. Or she does. And if you watch that ending again, it's actually ambiguous. Does he stop her from falling or does she put her hands down and stop and he notices it? And what I would love to see, dude, I would love to see this because he's from a broken home. He's got his neighbor, the phone call. I don't know if you remember in Captain Awesome, but there was like a weird phone call where his neighbor calls and checks up on him to verify, like, is he okay? Yeah, because of his dad. And it's like, dude, imagine a game where it's like these two characters. I think she's Asian. Is she or she's? I can't remember. She wasn't Caucasian.
Are you talking about Captain?
Still Captain Awesome.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's in the they're outside in the fucking treehouse, right. And she falls and she goes whoa, and she freezes in space.
Yeah.
And what I was thinking is, imagine if it's those two characters, because Life is Strange has always been about like emotional stuff, and the idea of maybe him and her being multiracial friends as young kids, plus his dad and whatever happened there. If it's a new protagonist completely, that's also cool. I'm just hoping they sort of mean new, and it's maybe it's the girl.
I never played 2 all the way through. I thought 2 continued where that captain thing starts. So that's just a thing.
There's a connection, but that's pretty much just a thing. Overall,
wow,
just a thing. It's not like a full connection.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's what confuses me even more. Is like it's not really solidified. And what was their power? What was the brothers' power in Life is Strange 2?
Well, I never played it, so I'm actually pretty unaware of what anything
trust
is.
Me, you don't. It's not very good.
Yeah.
I only played like 3 of the 5.
Yeah. There was just a special
I think
magic
telekinesis
around the first one. That
dude, nostalgia. It was so good.
Music. It's funny because a lot of people think it's garbage, but I kind of liked it because I think it was intentional. But a lot of people say the writing sucks. I think the writing was pretty good for its time period. Because the thing is, a lot of people are like, "Oh, she's saying hella, it's cringy," and I'm like, I think the point was for her to talk. Like they're like, it feels like a bunch of adults trying to be teenagers wrote this, and I don't know. I felt like it was intentionally designed that way. And I just appreciated the way that dialogue was delivered in that more than anything. Of course, dude, I will always remember because I streamed every episode of that game when it came out in 2015. And I remember, I think it was episode 3 where Max just time travels, and we'll just say she knocks on someone's door.
Oh,
and
yeah,
you're
dude.
Like, oh, fuck. You're like, holy shit.
So good. So good.
Shit. Yeah.
So good.
And it's handled.
And you guys know, go ahead.
No, I was just saying it was handled brilliantly. That's all.
Most people get more, like, I don't know, emotionally connected to games. And that one's one of the few that, like, that moment there, I was just like, oh my fucking God.
Mm-hmm.
There were so many cool. Yeah, there were so many cool. I didn't like the Storm one.
Before
See,
the
that's
Storm?
The thing.
Yeah.
Wasn't a huge fan of those.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like afterwards, it's just been kind of like, I don't want to say a
downhill,
decline,
right?
but like I just haven't heard that same adoration that I've heard for the first one. Maybe because the first one was new, you just had Telltale, and then you had this, and this was because there was a gameplay mechanic attached to it. It wasn't just conversation. Maybe it was just that fresh and new feeling that worked really well for them. I've always found it really strange. But I'm excited.
Let me tell you why it worked for me. I know you like anime, which I don't know if you'd consider anime on the nose, meaning when I say I wouldn't let you figure out my race if it's on the nose, I would tell you my race.
Right.
That's on the nose, meaning it's just told to you for the most part. So in Life is Strange 1, it's none of it's on the nose. In fact, you find out, I didn't even get this ending. You can find out that like your friend, the young kid in Life is Strange 2, or Life is Strange 1, the young guy who likes you, who hits on you, you can find out he's basically a stalker, which I didn't pick up on. I mean, I picked up on he was a little weird, but he was weird in a kid way.
Right.
So there's all these things you can find out. Where in 2, dude, you're told right away. I mean, in the first 30 seconds, you're basically...
They don't leave secrets for discovery.
Right. And I think that or what is that called? Before the Storm, the reason why that one was hard was because we already knew most of the stuff.
I think what happens is a lot of game writers get really wrapped up in these amazing themes and character arcs they have, and they don't want you to miss them or the pieces of them that they try to deliver it straight to you instead of letting you think, trusting your intelligence, trusting your exploration, the ability to read and dissect a little bit more. And I understand that because you write and you're like, hey, man, this is really good stuff. Like, we want people to experience this. But what happens is that discovery and that word of mouth of it's so undervalued of that, did you see this? And someone goes, no, I did not. And that moment of, oh, shit, is so undervalued. And I get it because if someone doesn't see it, they will have a vastly different experience. Maybe they take it into a review and they go, this shit sucks, tear it apart. And now you've lost a ton of sales. I understand the fear of it, but it's amazing how writing and how delicately it can be handled can really shift how a game is delivered to you. So it's funny you just bring that up because I've been thinking about that a lot because I told you I've been writing a fuck ton lately. So it's just interesting that you bring that up. Overall, though, it's funny because this is all just updates on games we already know about. I heard really bad things about Balan Wonderworld's demo. So I'm surprised that'll be
Never even heard about this.
It's a 3D platformer, and when I saw it, I was actually excited. I went, wow, this looks great. I was very, very much interested in it. So I'm happy to see it, and I hope there's more there, but I doubt they're going to be like, well, we're here to tell you it's being delayed. Maybe they will. Who knows? It's Square Enix, and Square Enix can be kind of weird.
Yeah. Hi, everybody.
What do you think they're doing with Avengers, too? Avengers got that update about a week ago that they were saying, oh, we're increasing the XP grind. And so are they adding new content finally? I don't care.
Free to play.
Free to play. Wow.
I absolutely believe that game is going free to play and that the grind was increased because it'll be free. I 100%.
I like that. That's a good prediction.
That it will go to free to play.
I can see that happening. Yeah, dude, you heard it here first, people. That's a really good
free
prediction.
To play on that one.
That sounds right. Outriders being there makes sense. Oh, sorry.
What about Kingdom Hearts? No, I was just going to say Kingdom Hearts, is that due for so is Kingdom Hearts 4 possible thing, or is Kingdom Hearts done?
I know Tetsuya Nomura said he wants the wait to be way shorter between the next two main games. And so we got Kingdom Hearts 3 at the beginning of 2019.
Oh, okay.
A game that I still like. I don't think it's that great. See the thing. I liked Kingdom Hearts 3 a lot, and then I played Final Fantasy 7 Remake, and I was like, oh god, they definitely tried so much harder with 7 Remake compared to 3. It was so apparent. But yeah, I mean, they did Melody of Memory at the end of last year. That was when was that? That was November, I want to say. So they did put some new Kingdom Hearts content out. It was a rhythm game, though, so that's not going to sustain for a long period of time. So I imagine that if they had something ready to announce, they probably would. But I do think it's a little soon. It's nearing that point, but I think it's a little soon.
Kingdom Hearts ever done turn-based?
No, they've tried a lot of different things, but they have not tried turn-based. There's so many games that I would love to see do turn-based. Rumor? Oh, God. Get ready, everybody.
Let me tell you a rumor. I'm just going to say this probably isn't true, but I did get a rumor that there was a Kingdom Hearts game, which is why I was asking if we're in line for a prime Kingdom Hearts versus this. But I had been informed that there was a combination of Disney and Square trying to work out a turn-based, like, huge IP turn-based. And assuming it was Kingdom Hearts because they were talking about Infinity, Disney Infinity, having a shit ton of IP, and then that's done. Disney Infinity's done. And the possibility, there were people saying there's this game coming that's going to be like replacing all those IPs in another one, and Square was involved. And so I was like, oh shit,
that would
Kingdom Hearts.
Make sense, yeah. If Square's involved.
I mean, imagine a turn-based, right, Kingdom Hearts where, because you said they were missing did you not say they were missing the DLC? Or I'm sorry, the Disney stuff in 3?
Yeah, and in Remind they added some more. They were missing Final Fantasy stuff for sure. Remind added some of that. I didn't play Remind, but I've seen it. And then the Disney stuff was apparently really limited. I remember there was an interview somewhere, and I couldn't find it, so I don't want to say, hey, take my word for it, but I could have sworn I saw someone from Square Enix, I want to say it was Tetsuya Nomura, kind of hinting delicately that Disney wasn't allowing them as much freedom, where in Kingdom Hearts 2 you could fight a variety of famous, you name it, you were fighting it as Sora, whereas in 3 you were fighting darkness versions of these big creatures that had nothing to do with Disney. So yeah, that would be interesting, especially now that we know Lucasfilms is established and they're Disney as a whole seems to be understanding gaming a little bit better. And so I think that sounds a lot more plausible. And I'd really like to see that. Hopefully, though, because if it's turn-based, I can't help but think of mobile games. And I'm talking about I used to play
mobile Square games, you mean?
By that, I mean, have you played, oh my God, Marvel Strike Force, I think it's called, on phones?
Dude, yeah, years ago we talked about this. I love all the Marvel games on Android.
It could be something like that. I know Kingdom Hearts already has a mobile game that they're actually winding down now. It's nearing the end.
Oh, okay.
So that could instantly be used as a counter.
Yeah.
But
okay.
All I'm saying is, a turn-based Kingdom Hearts game, I think a lot of people would be like, what? So we'll see.
I mean, imagine, just real quick, what if you're playing Kingdom Hearts and is it always Sora?
Well, there was 2.8 where you played as Aqua. You play as Riku in Chain of Memory. Let's see here. In Birth by Sleep, you can play as like Terra, Ventus, Aqua. So there are moments in games where you'll play as different protagonists for sure.
So you know how in Final Fantasy, in the old days, and a little bit in this new one, but not nearly as much as anybody wanted, they had the summonings. The big summonings in the original. Imagine like you fucking you're playing like turn-based Kingdom Hearts and you summon a Mandalorian.
Dude. Yeah, dude, they're gonna put Star Wars in Kingdom Hearts. I have no doubt in my mind about that.
Dude, right. Well, and Star Wars, by the way, is Mandalorian's got some dark undertones. Not fully dark, but they are also doing a shit ton of TV shows. There's like 6 new TV shows based on Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Like the idea of merging those would be pretty cool. What about a Star Wars made by Square, a Star Wars like turn-based, XCOM style game.
Dude, all I'm saying is I miss turn-based Square. Everything they have done remake-wise has been a lot of action, and I think Final Fantasy VII Remake was really great because it was almost there. There were turn-based elements rolled into action, and it was nice. I will say they did Dragon Quest XI, and I downloaded that on Game Pass. I want to give that a shot again, but turn-based Square, I think, is sorely missed. I think turn-based combat in general in this industry is really missed, and it's why I also appreciate Persona so much, because they said there is still room to innovate in turn-based. It doesn't have to be just your turn, their turn. It's like, here's baton passes, here's weakness targeting, here's all-out attacks, here's show times, like just mechanics after mechanics added to the game and how you interact with your enemy, and keeping control in the player's hands and that intensity. I just think turn-based Square Enix is sorely missed. Really, I do. And I think
I
that
agree.
kind of started with Final Fantasy
I would be
15.
more interested.
That's what I thought the Avengers game was supposed to be. Remember when they announced that years ago?
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude. I remember we did a show and I was like, man, if they did a cel-shaded art style, turn-based RPG with the Avengers, I would have lost it.
Imagine you get a different costume in a turn-based Avengers and you do a special attack and like a comic book filter comes over the world, right? Like there's, dude, we can't be the only one. I mean, obviously we're not the first ones on a podcast saying it, but I'm saying we can't be how is it that they don't think of that? I mean, maybe there's something we're not thinking of, but it's like, how are all of these things missed? Especially when you look at a turn-based like Gears Tactics doing so well. Gears Tactics did phenomenal. Like, how is it that Square doesn't go, let's do this? And I mean, I don't know, man. The fucking Avengers though was such a miss that maybe I shouldn't be expecting them to do anything. I mean, I don't know.
It could be pretty. I anticipate, although I don't think it'll be as public because I don't think Square is as maligned as EA was, but EA, we now know, said, hey, we're going to make Dragon Age 4 single player because Jedi Fallen Order did so well and Anthem did not. So we understand single player content can still make us money. Maybe, because you could feel Avengers was supposed to be something else. I'm not going to say it was supposed to be turn-based, but you could feel in that game it was supposed to be something else. Maybe Square is going to have that same awakening of, hey, between Final Fantasy 15, which we had to can our DLC, and Avengers cratering us, we cannot be taking these big budget risks.
They did can the DLC.
Right? Yeah, they did shut it down. So I feel like Square Enix is kind of due for that wake-up call. We don't know how Outriders is going to do either. I don't want to get ahead of myself. I hope it does well because it looks cool. I know some people are like, it's bland. I respect that. I understand that. It's not going to be everyone's thing, but I think it has enough things in it to be interesting for people. But if that doesn't do well, I mean, my question is, how many times can they miss? Really?
Yeah, in a service game, I'm assuming costs a tremendous amount of money. It's like also how much for like an Avengers, how much time will they pour into it when no one's playing it? That's another thing, because Avengers play numbers are low. Like there are people having problems getting in groups and all kinds of stuff. So
yeah, I remember last I looked, it was at like 1,200 on Steam, and that's pretty dire.
That's lower than free to play MMOs.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous.
Yeah, if you go on Steam charts, and I'm sure you can look it up, like Steam charts Avengers. I'm sure I can get a tap in now here. Last 30 days, right now, as of an hour ago, 490 people were playing Avengers on Steam. I'm sorry, this game's. I think your free to play call is actually.
Yeah, I think the free to play is for sure. Then. That's ridiculously low.
That should not be for Marvel. I mean,
and a Friday with nothing out. By the way, this is COVID time.
Out.
No big. There's nothing out at Matty, dude. Look at the last couple weeks.
Oh God, man. Oh,
450 on a PC title. That is.
And it's not like that PC game came late. I'm pretty sure it came day of, so it's not like people saw the reviews and went, "Oh, I'm out." These are people who have it. And
wow, dude, if you tripled those numbers and then tripled those numbers on both consoles, you would still have not enough to pay for the continued development of that game. That's the problem. That's why I'm saying you don't know how long it'll last.
Yeah.
Man,
really bad. So I'm curious to see what I think it'll be a soft kind of like, here's an update, here's a character. And if they do free to play, I will be very happy because they need something to
So will I.
I mean, dude, if you put it this way, right? If you're them, is it really a panic move if we're looking at numbers like that? We don't know the console numbers, but I can't imagine they're astronomically higher. But if you were looking at those numbers, do you say, hey, if we just drop this game, we can quadruple this number and get people talking, is it worth it at that point? Are they even selling copies of the game? Clearly not if it's at $4.90. And that game was, by the way, on Defining Duke, we look at sales all the time, and I saw Square Enix had a sale just last week. Avengers was there, half price.
Yep.
It's been on sale a lot. So there definitely was a chance for that to spike. And I was looking at the other previous weeks, and it was in the it was in like the 500 area. Like it has not been good. Outside of that, let's see here. New Square Enix Montreal games. I actually don't Square Enix Montreal.
I don't know anything, by the way, about Square Enix Montreal. I know of Warner Brothers or no, Ubisoft. Sorry.
Montreal. Yeah, I was gonna say Square Enix Montreal games. I'm gonna see what have they made. Hitman Go, Lara Croft Go, Deus Ex Go, Hitman Sniper.
They're mobile.
Uh-oh. No wonder they use the term Square Enix Montreal games.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
They said no new mobile games.
Oh, God. They name all the other names and all the other games and then say just their new game.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know. They got to be not in the best position because I feel to make Final Fantasy VII a battle royale and have you like be able to like snipe people in Aerith's church. That's not something that I imagine anyone who worked on the original game would be like, yeah, let's do that. No, I would not be thrilled. So I don't want to talk for other people, but I would not be surprised if Square Enix was bought out at some point in time, truth be told. Anyway, enough about them. It's time for you, the listener, maybe even the patron, to have your questions answered. This is where I could really use my iPad. Unfortunately.
You want me to grab them?
No, I have it on my phone. It's just what's going to happen is it's going to shoot me up and I'm going to go, oh, where were we anyway? I'm trying to figure out where our last questions were from the previous episode. Actually, hold on. It might have been. Nope, it was not saved. God damn it. Let's see here. Oh my gosh. All right. Our last episode was. Okay.
5th.
Yep. Got it. All right. We're good. Pen in Pant is our first write-in.
Okay, I see it. Oh.
What is y'all's favorite game to platinum /100%? Now, I think the 100% may be for you. You do not like the platinum trophy. There's a little bit of a rush, a dopamine rush you get when you have that nice rare achievement pop, but you don't like it. You don't like trophy. You don't like the trophies, and I respect that.
No, but the achievement pop, there's no denying. Your Discord, by the way. When they saw me mention it, they're like, dude, somebody else likes that sound. Like there's some, and even in Last Stand Discord, somebody was like, that sound, that when you get the Xbox One is
it's a nice ring.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a game I've like 100%ed in. There's a game I've played for years and years, but not 100%ed. There's some fucking thing I didn't collect, I guess. So,
well, for me, it's usually when I 100% a game, I don't go back for a while. So it's hard for me to think I'm going to go back and 100% a game again. It's usually I'm going to go back and play it again because I don't want to 100% it entirely. And I can answer like a favorite game to platinum in the sense of, hey, what was a game that you got the platinum trophy for that you really enjoyed? And I'm trying to comb through my head right now. I think Bloodborne was probably one of the more satisfying ones because while enjoyment may not be the right term because I had to go into the Chalice dungeons, I have videos of me fighting bosses on my channel, and like it was a process, man. Like it was a process going through all of that. So I definitely have fond memories of that. Otherwise, Spider-Man was fun, but it was just play the game. So in the terms of challenges and trying to overcome stuff, I think Bloodborne would probably be it. Multiple playthroughs. Ratchet and Clank on PS4 as well. That is a fucking fun game. That is and it's free now, by the way, so pick it up if you haven't.
Yeah.
Getting platty for that. Oh my. 3 playthroughs for that. That was fun. It just flew by. They're not long games, but highly recommend people look in that game if you have yet to. And it's a great platinum. Anything come to mind for you for 100% or no?
No, I'll just say games that I finish and refinish and finish, though. Strangely enough, Call of Duty Infinite, the space one, because I'm a big Battlestar Galactica fan. Yeah, dude.
Interesting.
I've beat it. I just played it night before last, 2 nights ago, and beat it again for like 4th time. Wow. But that's mostly because I like space and I like Battlestar Galactica, and that's what it felt like.
Right.
So that was sort of cool. Call of Duty Modern Warfare, I've beat like the single player story like fucking 15 times.
Mm-hmm.
Like I definitely return to those. Halo. In fact, I'll just change mine to games that I will play and, defeat the story multiple times. Sure. Because I do that a lot. And I would say Halo and is probably my number one. Halo 1, like, dude. It's
bad, dude,
like,
or
I can play that.
Oh, good.
No,
dude.
good.
Yeah.
I apologize. I can play that game.
Oh,
like it's almost stupid because it's so sandboxy in the way everything. So it never feels exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
So it's so fun. It's so fun to like throw grenades and just hear, a boom, and fucking bad guys leaping everywhere. It's sound design in that game is great. Halo 3 as well. I've definitely beat.
Yeah,
have 24 times maybe.
Halo 1 I've definitely played the most, like not just playtime, but more than so just
really
campaign wise for sure. There's just something special about it. I think 3 is definitely better, but there's just something special about that sense of something new and that feeling of dropping on a lost planet and going, what is next, and how it kind of carries itself. There's just a sense of mystery and definitely openness. I'll always remember that second level. That's what I always think about, man. It's just that and Silent Cartographer, just very open levels, interconnected. The design of that is aged so well.
It has not only that, but dude, that game had some balls. So you were just stating Life is Strange. You were like, hey, people don't want to not write a story you can't notice because that writing might be missed. Halo starts out in the middle of the story and just doesn't give a what's going on.
Yeah.
It starts out with you light speed jumping, remember? You're just like, "Roo," and you light speed jumping, you're like, what's happening?
Yeah.
And it's just like pillar bottom, blah, blah, blah. This is happening. Get your gun. And then you train for 2 seconds. It's like, look up, look down. Is that good? And you're like, yeah. And then bad guys kill everybody.
You're like, combat.
Yeah. And you're like, Jesus. And it tells its story environmentally and it does incredible audio without any audio logs, by the way. Well, you get the headset log, don't you, when the Flood get introduced? You put the chip in. So I guess there's one audio log.
There's comms storytelling, like people talking to you.
Yeah, but I can deal with that because they're talking, they're live. They didn't go, I'm dying, and record themselves.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah, Halo, man. I don't know how we got on Halo. But anyway, it doesn't matter because it's awesome. Oh, replayable stories, yeah. They had balls, man. They had balls to just say, we're going to start this story in the center and we're going to dole it out to you slowly. Man, and you're still going to like it.
It's the writing. You got to think a story starts middle, end. And to say, imagine you have a line that's at the beginning and you're going to move that all so that line is now in the middle and then work the beginning to the, I mean, that's just, that's all.
Remember the ending too?
Yes.
In the fucking Warthog and just drive. And it was the perfect movie driving escape.
It's legendary.
It is.
Pardon the pun.
It is.
There's a difficulty for that.
Yeah, true.
Mick Meister's our next write-in. Hey, y'all. Hope you've had a good week. This week, I jumped back into Ghost of Tsushima and have enjoyed it immensely. Playing this caused me to crave some of the Japanese food I used to eat when I lived there. Oh, that's awesome. So, my question is, are there games that you play that have caused you to crave certain foods after playing them? Thank you for your time and keep up the great content. This is a new type of question. We've never got something like this. A game that makes you crave food. Oh, man. That's a really...
Oh, yeah. I got one. Simpsons Hit and Run, which is the open world GTA style, has a level where you're I think you drop acid or you accidentally eat a mushroom, whatever, but you're in a fantasy land with like giant donuts. Sure. And that every time I play that game, I get really hungry for donuts. And I'm not a donut, but we played it like 6 times, and every time. That's probably the,
I want to say, I'm going to go with Final Fantasy 15. That game had a slew of models created for different dishes, and they'd slide them in, and you'd see like if you slid in a soup bowl and it had pork in it, you'd actually see the pork kind of pop out of the bowl and slide
salmon
back. Yeah, and you're just like, God damn, I want to get something good to eat. I deserve it. That's one that immediately comes to mind. I'm sure there are plenty more. I feel like Dragon Ball Z Kakarot had cooking of some kind. Maybe I'm just misremembering it, but I don't know. I think in the terms of delicious looking food, where I went, man, I could go for some of that. Definitely Final Fantasy 15. Great question, though, McMeister. Thank you. Straw Hat Ninja is next. Greetings, gentlemen. Which franchise did you like more back on the PS2 between Jak and Daxter, Sly Cooper, and Ratchet and Clank? I think they're all pretty great, but Sly is my favorite, especially the second one. That was the game that actually convinced me to buy a PS2 at the time. Do you have any love for these series? You don't? Oh my gosh, man. What were you doing at that time? How old were you?
Sega Saturn.
Oh, fuck.
So it was like Sonic. It was Pandemonium, which the third-party game. But there was I didn't have like Ratchet and Clank, which I love now, by the way. The new Ratchet, like that's just ridiculous. Those are great. But yeah, I didn't. Do you know I've never played the squirrel one?
Sly?
Yeah. Was it something in time?
Thieves in Time, yeah.
I played Thieves in Time.
Did you like it?
That's the only. I did. But it was that's PS2 or 3.
That was PS3, yeah.
Yeah, so that's how late I came into it. And one of my friends brought it over, and I was like, wow, that is an awesome character. And that's like my first real, and I've never played the other one, ever.
Jak and Daxter, yeah, that's Naughty Dog.
I don't even know what that is.
Pre-Uncharted and Naughty Dog. Probably my favorite era of them, honestly, outside of The Last of Us, which I think is their best game, the first one. I think Jak and Daxter is a series they need to pick back up because it's really good. It's actually, it was pretty advanced for its time. It was like open world to some extent, and there was just it was sandboxy in a way. There were challenges throughout the open world that you could do. Nothing crazy, but it was still really fun. You had the light and dark powers. For me, my favorite's 100% Sly Cooper. That series just has a DNA. I think it's really just being awesome. A thief. I like being a thief in games. So Dishonored.
Oh yeah.
Even to some minor extent, my favorite part of the Thief reboot, I never played the originals, but my favorite part of the Thief reboot was the ability to have an open level. You crawl into some apartment, you have lock picks, you're going through jewelry, and you're collecting stuff to sell on the market.
Right.
That type of stuff, I don't know if I deep down want to be a thief, but all I'm saying is I fucking like Dishonored and that game just scratched an itch, and Sly Cooper is all about being a thief. So it's all stealth. You're not super powerful. And in Sly 2, they introduced this thing where you can grab treasures on certain parts of the map and you have to hustle them back to your hideout. Otherwise, an alarm will go off. And you can use that money to then buy upgrades, so then you will become more powerful. And like I said, there's just a DNA to that game that is unlike anything else. So I'm just like you, Straw Hat Ninja. Sly 2 is really what made me fall in love with the series. I started there. And what's amazing is with that game, they actually have this emotional story to some extent. They have good moments, and it's lighthearted, but there's a charisma to it all. There's an elegance to the characters, and where you look at them at face value and go, oh, cartoonish, whatever, who cares? And then like there's significant things that occur throughout the story that make you care a lot more that you wouldn't see coming. And so Sly 2 is phenomenal, and definitely out of those three, my favorite. But I don't know if Sony would ever bring back Sly Cooper. See, that's the thing. Why? I just think because I really don't know. I just find it hard to imagine. You know what I mean? Like, that's really it. I don't have anything factually backing it up. They were looking into doing a TV show for it. I think it got canceled. And so, yeah, they were doing a movie. Then it turned into a show. Then it just got shut down. And so I felt like if they saw something, they would have tried to do it anyway.
Gotcha.
And honestly, I don't want to say I'm happy it got closed down because I'm sure people put time into it, but more so it was going to be like a Nickelodeon show, or it was going to be a cartoon show on like a younger platform. And what I liked about Sly was its ability to kind of, it's going to sound really weird, it functioned a little bit like SpongeBob, where SpongeBob you can watch as an adult and get a completely different interpretation of a joke because the humor was so well written compared to that of a kid. A kid would laugh because someone got hit in the head with a hammer, but meanwhile the adult would laugh because that hammer symbolized something in real life that you were like, whoa.
I know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so Sly Cooper just had something like that. And I feel like if you're putting it on some type of kids network, I just, my confidence lowers a little bit that they're going to try some more mature stuff that the series did tinker with. So at least there's that, but I just don't have this. I try every time Sony does a event, I will wear my Sly Cooper shirt to hopefully will it into existence. It has yet to work, but fuck me, man. I would love to.
That'd be awesome if somebody said something like, you get one announced and then they're in an interview and they're like, so why did you revisit this? And they're like, we weren't thinking about revisiting it, but we were doing a show and this guy showed up with a shirt, blah, blah, blah. It's like Matty in the back fucking wearing his shirt. Just randomly. The guy's like, let's go investigate if we can do another one. That'd be amazing.
Oh my God, dude. Imagine that. I mean, some developers have done that in the past. I think like Greg Miller's in Spider-Man PS4, like the shirtless Spider-Man character.
Yeah. Yeah.
So put Sly Cooper shirt Matty in there.
Let's get on this. I would personally play it because I actually think of all of those, those characters were more interesting. It also had the handicapped turtle, did it not?
Yes. That was one of the significant moments because he wasn't always.
Exactly. Oh, really?
Changed the way he played entirely.
Yeah. Right. See, to me, that's sort of next level. And strangely, it obviously was because that's the one I remember the most other than the main character. So I just think that it's why I like Beyond Good and Evil so much because of the anamorphic. That's
I gotta play.
And especially that one because they do the exact same thing where it's animals, but having, that's why Watership Down or Secret of Nim is so popular is because animals having human emotion. Like a lot of people buy into that.
Yeah. And it's also that I would sometimes they look creepy, but it was because of the art style and their design. They looked very natural. Like Sly as a raccoon, just, you could tell he's like almost a tall, slender human, and Murray was this buff guy, and Plankton,
right.
Thinking of SpongeBob.
There was some archetypes to it.
Yeah. And they all play differently, right? Like Murray's like a beat 'em up character, where Bentley's very vulnerable, but he has a lot of gadgets to use, and then Sly is this stealth master, and so their personality extended into their gameplay, which I think is always a really good thing.
Yeah, agreed.
Shogun Flame is next. Salutations, gentlemen. Hope you all have a tranquil day. I've been a longtime fan, a.k.a. Trash Mike Matty. Wow. Glad I finally jumped on the support train. Yeah, your support has provided this Shure SM7B, so thank you. Anyway, on the question, I'm creating a D&D campaign. I wanted to add you three into the world. Name, race, gender, class. What would you want your character to be? Villain, hero, villager, demigod, etc. The world is medieval fantasy with some gun technology. The biggest faction is a half-dragon empire. The second strongest is a mixed-race faction. Thank you, gentlemen, for your magnificent work and have an astonishing weekend. And would you kindly keep fighting the good fight? Thank you, Shogun. All right, character. We got a character. I have been having these weird fuck-ups this last 10 minutes. Carrick, we have to riff off each other here and create a D&D character for each of us on the spot.
Medieval. I want to be... He said that the main race is half-dragon.
Yeah, he said the biggest faction is a half-dragon empire.
And then the other faction is a mixed race of some kind?
Yes. Yeah.
So I want to be a weapons dealer. But I don't know if he's saying that the half dragons rule the other race. But I want to be a Southern speaking, no bullshit weapons dealer. Because he said guns. I'm trying to think of this world. He's got his own world.
Man,
I don't know.
This is your specialty. I usually take forever to do D&D characters because I want them to like really stand out. You're doing this on the fly, which is amazing. I'm actually fascinated watching this.
Yeah, I just like the idea of a southern speaking like. See, the thing is when he said that, for some reason I thought maybe the overarching like the half dragons rule everything else, because he said the major faction, which you rarely hear when somebody's making a game that they talk about, because usually it's races, not faction, which sort of confused me. So, but yeah, I like the idea of a southern speaking, belligerent weapons seller. If the half dragons rule everybody else, he actually is a half dragon and he's betraying them by selling weapons to like the other race that's trying to fight back. If they're not belligerent, make whatever you want.
Name?
Yeah. Oh, name? Oh, I have no clue. I mean, dude, I don't even worry about
Karak.
names.
That's a D&D name right there, all right?
Eric, yeah.
And then let's see.
Male,
here.
of course.
Male, and then class.
I mean, mercenary fighter, whatever, but it would be X whatever, because I no longer do. In fact, I've been wounded in a battle by my own troops, which is why I'm now selling weapons to the
Look at this theory,
like the rebels.
All right.
Yeah. So that's where I am.
I'm impressed. Like I know you play a lot, so it's definitely makes sense why that comes to mind. For me, I'm rusty on D&D, so I'm sitting here thinking, who do I want to be in a half dragon empire with gun technology?
Ooh, an inventor. Ooh. I don't know why I always see you as the guy sitting like up late at night coming up with some weird new gun, almost like a weird new YouTube, but instead it's a weird new gun technology. Like when he said guns, I was thinking steampunk. I didn't know what he meant.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like in mad scientist.
You're the dealer, I'm the crafter.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was trying to figure out. He didn't give enough. Dude, next time you ask that, gotta explain a little more.
Well, yeah, because I was looking, I like to play, I love elves. I do sometimes deviate for sure, depending on the universe we're in. But I would have said an elf archer who had laid down the bow for guns after, something cliche, like family dies. So now it's guns blazing. So you can feel free to make a half elf who is a ranged class of some kind, fitting into your universe, whatever you want to kind of flavor that up with. And let's see here, male, and I think that's name. We'll call him.
Names are hard.
Yeah, I want to give him a funny name. Yeah, make this elf so fucking helplessly. He is the most dramatic motherfucker. In fact, he did not drop the bow because his family died. It's because he has crippling anxiety and he thinks his family's going to die. So he has instead picked up a gun, and now he will move on and join in your adventures, maybe, or whatever you want to do with this character. And so I want you to just make this. He's a nervous wreck. He's about to fuck up constantly. He talks like this. Really nervous guy. But he's proficient in combat. That's where he enters his own.
Because he's nervous, so he trains all the time to make sure that he doesn't let anybody down.
Like he's absolutely frazzled from all his training. So, go ahead, run with that. His name will be Shaky.
Shaky?
Yeah.
Shakes?
Yeah. Why not? Brandroid is our next write-in. Howdy, gents. I saw Maddie's video for today, and I'm not sure which video it is, and it's crazy to remember just how many teams they have now for RPGs. Okay, I know what video it is. Is there a project from any of Xbox's RPG teams that interests or excites you all the most? Stay safe and stay sexy. So I made a video, just so you know, just talking about Xbox RPGs in general. I was saying, it's kind of crazy what their future looks like, because, you look at Obsidian, in Exile, Bethesda Game Studios, you now have Playground working on Fable, the potential of crossovers. So there is a lot there, especially for someone like me. So with that kind of information in mind, is there a project from any of Xbox's RPG teams that interests or excites you all the most? So not potential ones, but what's happening now that interests you or excites you? We know Inexile is doing a AAA RPG on Unreal Engine 5. Obsidian's on Avowed. Bethesda Game Studios is on Starfield. And then we have, of course, Fable from Playground. Really nice pickings.
Fable for me, and the reason why is because they had the wherewithal to cancel Legends. So Microsoft gets a lot of shit for some of the games they release, like State of Decay 2 had some technical issues, right? I played Legends. There were no technical issues. That game worked. It just wasn't Fable, I guess, would be these. It wasn't what people were thinking. And to me, they had the wherewithal to say, guys, this is not right. Let's pull back completely. And so I would say I'm interested in what Microsoft has asked Playground to do and what Playground has decided to do. And their technology for Forza, that world, their technology for world and draw, all that shit, that's interesting too. Yeah. So to see those combined for a Fable game.
I want to pick Fable too, because for me, it's the transition of racing to what I imagine is open world RPG. And I definitely think that's very tantalizing, because I think of Guerrilla Games and how they move from first-person shooter to third-person open world. And maybe that's less dramatic of a shift, but I still find that really exciting to see what a new group of ideas behind a very popular RPG franchise ends up being. But I'll say, for the sake of conversation here, that Avowed probably is my go-to in my head. We've seen a lot of Skyrim likes. I think Dragon Age Inquisition, definitely with the hinterlands, took some pages out of the Skyrim book. But we really we'll just think of that final shot in Avowed's trailer, where he had the spell in one hand, the sword in the other. I mean, if you told me that was a concept trailer for Skyrim, I would have absolutely, and I didn't know anything about gaming, I would have went, oh wow, I believe you, 100%.
Yeah.
And so, with that in mind, that's intentional. So I think the idea of a very proven RPG developer who's looking to go beyond what the Outer Worlds was and make what is the Obsidian Skyrim is beyond exciting. Because here's the thing, is that we will see with Starfield where Bethesda lies on choice and consequence. We saw them respond with Far Harbor, but then they did 76 and they did Nuka World, which were two games that were kind of in that wheelhouse of not really accounting for being a role-playing game, where Obsidian has shown consistently, even with their most recent release in the Outer Worlds, that they still care about choice a lot. So I want to see someone do Skyrim, but with real choice. Skyrim has, the Civil War choices. You can choose which faction you want to align with, and a couple others here and there. But I want to see what Obsidian really guns for. That to me is very exciting. So that would be my pick, really.
Dude, Obsidian feels like Bethesda before Bethesda got big.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it feels like Obsidian could explode from this Microsoft thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Avowed's going to put them on the map. I think they're on the map now. But...
yeah. I will say, I will firmly state this right now. I think Avowed is one of the worst names for an RPG ever.
Really? Okay.
It doesn't,
Interesting.
Does not elicit any emotion. It might be because it's an A, and I think A's are notoriously soft and just don't have a grab to me. Skyrim is like, whoa, what is that? Skyrim? Like, what does all that mean? Like, it's just something. Daggerfall. Like, that's something. Avowed is a word, but it's more like Avowed is most likely a character class in the game, or the character, like type, I guess, that you play.
Yeah.
I don't like that name. I don't know why I'm bringing it up. I just don't think it elicits excitement like it could have if it had a more wondrous name.
You see, that's funny, because what's interesting, and I bet they're thinking the same thing, but they need to separate it so much, is that Pillars of Eternity would probably, if they just did it, just called it that, would give you that feeling. But
it would.
Because Pillars, at least 2, did not do well sales-wise.
Yeah.
Did well review-wise for sure. They probably want to be so separate that they're like, Avowed. It's just a one-word description. And so I think, that might be why they went with that. And that's interesting you bring that up. It's a very good point.
Yeah, it's a weird bitch, but it just bothers me whenever I hear somebody say it. I almost have to think again about what game we're even talking about, and I don't like that.
Yeah, I get that, because it's not a part of anything either. And
right.
It is a part of Pillars, but it doesn't indicate that, really, until you dig into the universe more.
Lore. Yeah.
Which is why I'm playing Pillars this year. I'm excited for that. I really wish they didn't drop the support for Pillars on Switch, because that was what I was going to do that. But now I'm just going to play it on console, I guess. Because those CRPG style games, I feel like if I had the option to just lay in bed, I don't know why does my brain work that way? Playing them on a big TV just sounds unappealing.
Dude, I played Skyrim on the Switch, and I can tell you right now, I paid more attention to the story ever in Skyrim on the Switch. And the reason why is because I can't look past the screen because it's small and I'm here, where on a TV, I've got another screen, Discord can pop. The best thing about the Switch is the shittiness of Nintendo's online. It doesn't tell you anything, right? Yes. There's no warnings, right? So their failure is the best part of playing Skyrim on that system. Dude, I paid attention, and I do not pay. I don't even love Elder Scrolls, but I was like constantly staring at just the game, nothing else. And they failed because Pillars of Eternity is a perfect game for that system.
Yeah, it's a big shame. Is it like game breaking stuff? I didn't look into the bugs.
We did patch it twice, but that gray screen bug we talked about a month or two ago, when I was saying I had stopped, that gray screen bug was big enough that I was seeing it on forums, and people are like, if you hit it, you're screwed or something like that. Now, somebody in the chat who's played this recently, or maybe is more up on it, I would love to hear that that's not the case. But I do know that they thought they fixed it, and they didn't. And that was the last I heard of it. And people are bitching. Like, in fact, the last time we talked about it, in your comments, somebody was like, you suggested somebody play Pillars on the consoles. I hope you don't mean the Switch, because blah, 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 blah. So,
yeah. It's unfortunate, because it's really weird to see a company be like, we're going to leave this undone. Normally they tie a bow on it to say, like, we tried, we have all, we left it all on the table. If someone buys this,
right.
Good.
You know what? Instead of guessing, continue on to the next. I'm going to look this up and see where the support is for that game. So it's 2, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Unkempt Talk is our next write-in. Hey, guys, quick little story for you all. My fiance isn't much of a gamer aside from playing Sims 4 and going through Super Mario 3D World with me, but she doesn't play often and doesn't follow gaming news. However, she started listening to the podcast with me after she was just chilling while I was listening, and now we listen together every week. She says she doesn't know what you're talking about, but likes how you guys talk about it. Oh, fuck yeah, that's awesome. Anyway, throw a question in here. How do you guys stay motivated to stick to a specific game? I have a few different hobbies, reading, writing, and gaming, but I just always feel like there's not enough time, and I end up playing through parts of a game, but I truly haven't finished one in a while. I'm close, though, with Ghost of Tsushima. Anyway, thanks for all the awesome entertainment, gents. So, a balancing act of hobbies here, right? What exactly do we do when we're trying to play games, we're reading books or writing? If you're on Unkempt Talk, you're hanging out with your wonderful fiance who absolutely adores our show and thinks it's the best thing ever. Thank you for that, by the way. How do you balance it out? Because I know you and I are men of many hobbies. And so I'm sure we have vastly different answers here. But I remember I had trouble balancing my hobbies, and then I met you. I saw how you were handling things with scheduling, that I took pages out of your book. So I want to see, as I've evolved your playbook, I want to see how you balance it all.
Has the old man switched up his game?
Yeah.
Just how do you balance hobbies versus everything?
Yeah, because he's asking here, how do you stay motivated to stay to a specific game? Because I have a few different hobbies, but I always feel like there's not enough time, and I end up playing through parts of a game, but haven't really finished one in quite a while. So it looks like he's searching for a way to just, I want to finish this game, but I have stuff that's calling my attention.
Oh, dude, I would just say realize that it's not going away. Humanity, and especially games, for whatever reason, we have a weird belief that, like, whatever we bought is magically going to disappear. And so you'll see people, they'll like, something new will come out and they're like, I'm jumping to that. Takedown has that. A couple of people on my Discord will bounce to multiple things. And it's like, that's not going away. I would say the only games you need to get right away, or would want to think about would be games where maybe the online component or the discussion about it is so vastly interesting to you that you want to be engaged day one. Because I'll see people say, wait on everything. And I'm like, that doesn't make sense, because you might get an Avengers where only 400 people are playing, right? Mm-hmm. That's a disaster. So I go into everything and I'm like, hey man, if it'll still be there. I don't buy it. I do jump to some games. You and I both have to, which does suck because there's games I want to stick around.
Yeah.
Like there's times where I'm like, man, I'd really like to return that, but I don't have the time. But I would say for me, that's just not an issue, because I'm pretty almost disciplined. If I find that there's a weakness in something I'm doing, I get really angry about it. So one of the things I get really angry about is like lying to yourself and saying, this will go away, or I need to get it now. And I'll be like, do I? That makes no fucking sense. Like, I need to get food, and it would take a while for me to starve, so I don't even need food right away. It's like, how much do I need right away? And you have to be a bit of a disciplinarian, I guess, would be said. And which you've talked about too, because you're like, do I need this or do I need that? And then you're like, no, not really. And you move on. Yeah. There's certain games I've wanted you to play, and you're like, I haven't played them. Didn't have the time, and right now I'm playing something else. I mean, that's discipline in and of itself.
Agreed. Yeah, I think it's just you don't even have to do like take out your pen, take out a calendar, and work out your whole week. Sometimes when you overplan, that's just as destructive.
Yeah.
What I would say is each week kind of takes its own form, where you'll end up seeing gaps in appointments you have or hobbies. So maybe as you start to fill out that schedule, you can say, well, Wednesday I'm going to write, but Thursday I got like 5 hours open. I'm going to play a game, like that type of thing. Sometimes, and this is going to sound really weird, but sometimes you just got to pick up the controller and just say like, all right, I'm going to play, even if you kind of don't feel like it. And when you start playing, you're like, this is fun. And you kind of get wrapped up into it. You almost hesitantly get into it. And maybe I'm the only one who's experienced that. Sometimes I'm like, man, I feel too lazy to pick up a controller. And then I have that same thing. I get mad at myself. I'm like, dude, it's a fucking game. Grab the controller. Yeah. And once I do, I have a blast. I think just sometimes people get, I think the right word is lethargic. You're just like, you're just lazing about. But for me, it's really just knowing my schedule. So I know Fridays nights through pretty much Sunday, I'm free on content. So I usually each weekend pick two things that I'm going to really spend a lot of my time doing. So this weekend is my anniversary with my girlfriend for 3 years. And then it is also the weekend that I want to edit a story I've been working on with some friends. We've nailed down 3 chapters of it. And so we're going to revise that. So it's like, okay, this might be a light gaming weekend. I've certainly gamed enough this week. And I'm going to focus on my writing for this free time I have. So it's about knowing when you get that free time, what you want to do with it. And if you feel like you're not playing enough games, maybe, like the book's not going anywhere. You're writing, maybe you want to stay on top of that because there is a flow. There is a being involved in that. But also with writing, I know for a fact, man, because I've tried to force myself to write. You will put some fucking garbage out there. And that's no offense to you or anybody. It's just the reality of it. You cannot force yourself to creatively write sometimes. Not every time your pen's going to light on fire. So when you get that writer's block, go play a game. Go invite yourself into a magical world where everything is completely different from reality. Don't read a book and text on a page, that type of thing. Identify when the time arises. Otherwise, I would just say do what you're enjoying. That's important. It's just as important. But the other thing is know what's coming up. A lot of times when I'm playing my games, I will recognize, hey, I might have a chance of not beating this if I leap to this game on its launch day. So a lot of people had trouble with, say, Valhalla to Cyberpunk. Valhalla is a very big game. So maybe if you're having a situation like that, wait a week for Cyberpunk if you can. Once again, like Karak said, it's not going anywhere. So wait a week for Cyberpunk. Finish Valhalla. Then get Cyberpunk. And then start that. There is an importance, I understand the importance rather to be there day one talking about things, but there's also the value of taking your time, enjoying stuff at your own pace. So that would be my best advice for you, Hawk.
difficult to know.
Yeah.
Everybody's a little different too.
Yes.
Like it's always like I have no issue. I write all the time. I have no issue writing, and I don't get writer's block. But then I might have an issue that one of you guys just you wouldn't even know when I state I have an issue. You wouldn't even really know how to handle it. 'Cause it's never an issue for you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like you said. I think it is about like flow. Just like I'm moving to this, I'm moving to that. Because I definitely have issues where I want to work on one. You and I talk about this, where you want to work on one thing and you're like lit on fire, but you know you have to do something else because of your job.
Right.
And that can be difficult. I will say that can be hard to pull yourself away from a game because you like have to play another one for our job. That it sounds like a weird bitch, but I definitely am jealous of some people who can stick with something I can't.
Oh, dude, we were going through my friend's Kopi, one of my editors and good friends. We're going through his hours on Xbox, and I was looking. I mean, granted, during high school, I absolutely had, like, for me, it was Black Ops 2, and it was probably Halo 3. I just sank days and days worth of game time in there. And so we're going through his Xbox hours, and he pops open Overwatch, and he had, like, 90 days on it. I had, like, 500 hours in that game, 550 hours, which is still pretty good. But I look at that, and I'm like, man. It was almost like I wish I could have stuck for that long because I loved Overwatch in its prime.
Right.
And he has GTA Online. GTA Online was what it was. GTA Online, he had 90 days. I was like, holy fuck.
And by the way, we're talking about enjoying those 90. You're not trying to 100% something or platinum something.
Yeah, he's just playing the game
because you like it. Yeah.
And it was like, wow, man, I wish I could stick for that long. You know, I feel good about myself that sadly, once again, because the industry starts to move and I start thinking about other back compat titles that maybe I'm leaving behind that I've really missed where it's a cool opportunity. I don't regret it, but Hitman 3, I've put like 45 hours into and I want to go back. I think about every day. Like, I want to go play some more Hitman 3. And it's not like any other game's calling my attention, but I do have that desire to say, like, man, I want to fire up this random 360 game and play it. And it's because I've been yearning for that for years, so I'm not regretting it. But I know Hitman, I would have 100 hours in by now, for sure. But it's because that desire to move to the next thing. And you know, part of it's defining Duke, right? You want that back compat pick of the week or Game Pass pick of the week. And you got to play some games sometimes for that. So I do share that envy.
So I want to read this to you. This is terrible. This is Pillars of Eternity, dude.
Okay.
Listen to this. February 9th. For all those who dove into the world of Aura or Era or whatever with Pillars of Eternity on Nintendo Switch, we want to thank you. All the feedback that you've given us has allowed to continually make the game better so you can play it whenever you go. It has a massive undertaking for us to get to this point. We have unfortunately reached a limit that we can do with our updates to the game and have exhausted the options left to us from the PC original in regards to the limitations of the hardware we are working with. We do understand that this will leave issues present that we've reported, such as the Ranger pet not appearing, but this time we're unable to patch the game further. So what's interesting here is this is about the PC version as well.
Oh.
But what they're talking about is taking the PC version and fixing the Nintendo Switch. So they have full-on bugs that they're done. And people are like, are you doing refunds or what's going on? And they're like, admittedly, that's not going to stop you from winning the game. But dude, the Ranger pet doesn't show up. That's a big deal. Imagine a cleric's magic spell not working.
Oh,
that's
I was going to ask you what that is. And okay.
That's the Ranger's pet. Like, and that's what a Ranger is known for. It's like a druid, you know, a summoning, well, depending on the game, but summoning a creature. And they're just done, man. They're like, like, I don't know what's going on. I will say that. I don't know what's going on with this game and Obsidian on the Switch. There is something different about that versus all others. So, anyway,
something tells me that they're just trying to go all in on Avowed, and I think their timeline got really fucked up because
you think
Outer Worlds getting its. They promised 2 pieces of DLC, right? Outer Worlds getting its second piece of DLC a part of the way into 2021 is really fucking odd for a game that came out at October of 2019, in my opinion. I thought for sure that was like first half of 2020, middle to second half of 2020, and that was it. The fact that it's 3 months in and on the 17th we're getting that, I think there is a desire to move on for that. A lot of their straggling teams from
that makes sense.
Pillars to that, maybe help out on Grounded, which is probably showing them much more player base, and of course Avowed. So curious to see how they evolve over time.
Yeah.
Chris Cozy writes in, this one I can't answer because I know nothing about it. Maybe you do. Any thoughts on the future of NFT, fungible?
Non-fungible.
Okay.
Yeah. Crypto coins.
Okay.
You may be asking because I'm talking about them all the time.
It says NFTs
real quick,
are... sorry. What's up?
No, go for it.
I was going to say NFTs are a hot topic right now with celebrities monetizing tweets, songs, albums, etc. The same can be done with in-game cosmetics that can become tradable like weapon skins in Counter-Strike, but using cryptocurrency. Good or bad? I don't...
Bad.
Yeah, it doesn't sound good, but I don't really know enough about it.
Real quick, Bitcoins are Bitcoin. You know what those are, right?
Yeah, I'm
Crypto
familiar.
coins.
Yeah.
Okay, or what they are generally, but they're a digital form of currency, decentralized, not run by a government, non-fungible. These things are basically, you take a picture and you mint it, you put it into the digital world, and it's sort of written into the matrix. And now it's a thing, and it says, Karak made this, and it cannot be counterfeited. So the Mona Lisa could be counterfeited. You had to get experts to go and say, this is real or not. This removes that, which is very cool. However, as of this morning, by the way, a bunch of LucasArts artists stated somebody stole all of their art and made non-fungible fucking tokens from it. Now, what a token is whatever you upload. I have a token of my dog that I fucked around with filters, and I'm selling it, like just for the shit of it. So what happened is, once you do that, copyright law and who owns what is ridiculous. So, for example, Maddie, you can say, salutations, everybody. Maddie here, blah, blah, blah. And you can turn that into a token, and it's technically ownership for you. The cool thing about these tokens is when they're resold, you can get money. So currently when an artist sells his picture to Jeremy, me, I buy it for $10. That's it. He's done. With a crypto thing, the JPEG is online. And if I sell it again to you for $5, he gets a small percentage, which has never happened before in art. And he would forever get it. It's like royalties for MP3s. So what's happening here is fucking NBA team has these tokens, which are just pictures and movies. They have one that's a GIF, and they're selling a GIF. By the way, you can still have the GIF on your computer. It's just you wouldn't be able to track it and say it's yours. That's how little they matter. They're nothing. It's like minting air and saying this is your air. Yeah, it's a weird part.
Sounds like trying to make money on something that you don't need to make money on. Like maybe I'm just uninformed, but
well, here's the cool thing. A lot of artists who get ripped off are making really good money, and I'm not. And so I agree with you 100%, but I also agree that they should make money. And there's been people who are like, I've toiled away, never made money, and I made $67,000 last month. Admittedly, it'll blow up, and then dude, one guy sold first picture ever he's ever sold in his life, $200,000. So that's the problem. They're blown up out of proportion. So this will go back down, right? People will be like, this isn't worth it. It'll probably crash a couple times. But I'll just say, I think I love the idea of them, but I think currently the way they are, there's way too much ability for misuse. It's just, it's insane. You can make a tweet, a coin basically, and sell it. And
is that what people meant when they were saying you could sell tweets to kind of like a membership group or something like that?
I'm a part of it to test it out. Yeah.
Holy fuck.
Yeah. So any tweet I've done, I can sell my tweet, and then that tweet is owned by that person. So they could use it in advertising if they wanted. Right. And it allows for you as a creator to make money. So you get a 5,000, 6,000, you get a viral tweet. A lot of times companies, have you been seeing this, Maddie? So if you get a viral tweet, a company will DM you and say, will you please say you like our company? We'll pay you $200. Have you seen that?
No.
That's a real thing. It's huge right now. It's massive. So you'll see like buy Cricket cell phones in somebody, they have a viral tweet and then they're tweeting a bunch of ads. That's because the company came in. But this allows for you to do as the same thing, but through Bitcoin. Wow. It's weird technology, dude. It really it's very
I feel very
open for failure.
I feel very old about
out of
that.
Your element.
Yeah.
So do I.
It feels like
it's like cell phones for an old person.
Yeah. It's so foreign to me. Know It All is our next. Oh, sorry. What are you talking? Oh, you're talking.
Hey, quick round. Continue.
No, you're good. Know It All is our next write-in. Do you guys have a favorite video game trailer or commercial / series of commercial that stand out to you as being unique? And if so, what is it? Mine would have to be Halo 3 Believe campaign with several interviews
diorama
leading up to the beautiful diorama. He said, beautiful ass diorama.
Yeah.
Series of commercials that stand out. I don't know. This is going to be such a bad answer. I've had 2 bad answers in a row. I like gameplay trailers. I don't know how to put it. I don't care about anything else. I want to see the game I'm going to play. There are fun little metagames that can be baked into marketing. I thought Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 had one. I thought the Survivor 2299 had the potential to be one. And I still at times theorized that was Bethesda because it did something. It accomplished something. But point being is that I like little things like that. I know there was an ARG for Cyberpunk. I didn't track that one as closely. And if Cyberpunk can gain traction with that, I don't know who would. But overall, I don't think I track these commercials and stuff very closely. I just, what does the game look like? And then I'll break it down. I'll look at it frame by frame. And so I could pick trailers I really like and appreciate. You know, I remember with Fallout 4, we were at a time period where, people expected when a game got announced, we'll see you next year, and we'll talk about it later. And it sort of broke that cycle, and on its first reveal, it was 3 minutes of gameplay footage, and that was just phenomenal as a longtime fan and someone who was hyped for that. So, of course, Fallout 4's trailer would be my answer, but anything afterwards, that just first time I got to see the game, that's more important to me. I don't care about TV spots. I know there's a big deal for companies and stuff, and I understand why. I don't care about cinematic trailers. That type of stuff just doesn't matter to me. So I can't really give a sufficient answer because I never cared in the first place.
Yeah, mine would definitely be the diorama. Like it's beyond like that. That's an easy answer. Okay. The Halo 3 one, or the Halo one.
All right, moving along. Cam. Hello to the wonderful trio of hosts. Sadly, it's only a duo, Cam. Hope your day has been well. With the recent Bethesda addition to Game Pass and 18 million subscribers as of January 2021, Game Pass has proven to be the best deal in gaming easily and an enormous cash cow for Xbox. But as a PlayStation gamer, it pains me to see how PS Now has been operating. The service started in 2014 and, in my opinion, wasn't even worth getting into until they allowed the ability to download PS2 and PS4 games in 2018. Even though the service has gotten better over the years and has roughly 2.5 million subscribers, it still doesn't have essential features like the ability to, say, download PS3 games and the ability to download a game on the PC client at all. My main question is, what the hell is Sony doing with their service, and what do you think the future of this service is? Hope you enjoy the rest of your guys' days. Well, the PS3 game downloads, unless they pulled something out, which I've been saying for a while that if there's a will, there's a way. They could figure it out if they wanted to, I believe. But unless they do figure a way to, then I don't know how exactly they're going to expand that service, because I think part of the alluring thing with Game Pass is you have 3-4 now generations of Xbox to sift through in an entire downloadable library. With PlayStation, It's limited to 2. Also, the streaming technology. Xbox, you get to download it. PlayStation wants you to stream some of these games. Not all of them. You can download PS4, you can download PS2. But when it was introduced, it spent years meandering in the streaming side of things. And I don't think the internet was really quite there yet. No one wants to play a game and watch it buffer, whether it's the loading symbol or just seeing it turn into like 480p. No one wants that. So I think there was just a lot of things that hurt it over time, and now they need something loud. Like, you can download PS3 games to get people in, because I would get in on that to see what games they had. But right now, I think with them having the PlayStation Plus collection, the PS Plus games, and then their excellent exclusive library, which people have shown they're willing to pay for, part of me wonders if they care, because they have so many other offerings in there. They give you, the PS. Part of it's conflicting services too. You have PS Plus games every month, plus the PlayStation Plus collection. So why would you want to be a PS Now subscriber, right? I mean, this is funny because I complain about it, but Games for Gold sucks ass. It's terrible. But you have Game Pass there, which almost because Games for Gold looks so bad, helps Game Pass. With PlayStation, it's the opposite. You've got PS Now, which I don't think offers enough to justify its price tag. Plus, some of the games you may want to go to, you'll have to stream. But on the other hand, you've got your subscription services like PS Plus that give you access to a lot of games. And the fact that people are getting Final Fantasy VII Remake is awesome. Yeah. Or Oddworld Soulstorm on launch month. That's awesome. So they're doing a good job with that stuff, but I really think it just boils down to PS Now operating as a kind of stagnant service for a long while, not doing much with it.
Yeah. Everybody cares and can only cover so much. And Sony, I think, has shown their online inability to understand online, everything from the hack and the refusal to admit the hack for 2 years, like to fully admit it in America for 2 years, at least, until Jack Tretton did it on threat, he says, of his own job. So it's like, wow. Now Jim Ryan, he might be different. So, because he's come in and he's stated that, for example, he doesn't believe in backwards compatibility. So will they spend resources on maybe he believes in the network? We don't know. Maybe that's where Sean Layden had issues. Maybe Sean didn't believe in the internet. And they've switched places. I just don't know. But I think Sony that's their weakness. And Nintendo. Nintendo and Sony, their weakness is that. And it's Microsoft's strength. That's their thing.
Yeah.
Like every company has a strength. I think somebody wants some of these companies to have a strength in every single facet of business. If a company has a strength in every facet of business, they would be the only company in that business. So
true. Each
one of them has big issues that they need to fix. And Sony has definitely got online, man. I don't even know, by the way. I have all their stuff. I've all their subscriptions. I couldn't even tell you one thing that's on them. Not a single thing could I tell you what's on them because they never interest me. I've got them just that way. I don't have to go get them for a game or, if I want coverage for them.
For sure. Okay, let's see. We got Natural Calamity next. Question 1. Do you think developers owe fans info on upcoming games, or do you ultimately think it is a courtesy and is not required that info comes in a timely manner?
You are in no way, shape, or form owed information.
Yeah, that's where I sit on it.
It sucks, but you're not owed it.
No, I agree. Question 2. When the Bethesda news dropped, I feared I was unable to enjoy it as much. I've been sick like a dog. Thankfully, my family is all coronavirus negative, especially me, both vaccines. That's good to hear. Excellent. I haven't been able to keep up with the news or games at all. But what games did you miss because of sickness, or what game did you enjoy more because of the aforementioned sickness? Thank you. And I hope you gents have a mediocre day filled with nothing but borderline sadness.
Good man.
Yeah, there we go. Naturals listening to Fine and Duke. I have an answer that comes to mind right away. I think I've shared this on the show because we had to talk about this where, your brain starts to filter out the negative shit. And I remember when I had COVID back in December, I literally was, for the first time in years, just bedbound. I couldn't go out of my room. Right. So I just hung out in my bed for many days. And outside of going to the bathroom, what I did was I just laid down and played a ton of the Somnium Files. And it was an amazing game, by the way. Really good story. If anyone has not played it yet, I do recommend it. If you like Zero Escape, Danganronpa, it's by the Zero Escape director. So there is a lot of inspiration from that. Wonderful soundtrack. But point being is, while it was a good game on its own, I really look back on it fondly because it's sort of, we have those hard times in life, whether it be sickness or bad experiences or just a tough day. And sometimes a game will carry you through that. This was sort of the game that carried me. It was, I usually am on Discord almost every night with my buddies. We're laughing, talking. All of a sudden I'm just alone in my room and I'm fine by myself. I like my solitude, but I also enjoy my friends as much. But for me, just sitting by myself, it was like, you had some company with this game and this cast of characters. And so it was really nice to look forward to that too. I would sometimes read a little bit and I'd try to hold it off till night so I had something in the back of my head to get me through the day because it was all I could do, man. Like I'd get up, I'd do some arm exercises for my elbow, and I'd be like, all right, now what? And I'd start to gradually go on walks because I had to get my stamina back. So the Somnium Files definitely was a game that I am thankful for, but I enjoyed because of my aforementioned sickness for sure.
I don't remember if I was sick. I think I called off sick, though, which is rare for me. In fact, I think this is the only time ever in my life I've called off sick. But and we talked about like what games backwards compat we want. But Rally Sport Championship, the Xbox game I always talk about, I called off sick for 3 days in a row. And everybody was at work because that's all I knew, everybody at work. So what would happen was when Graveyard Shift got off work, they would come to my house and we would play. And because I stay up all the time, I would just stay up all night, and the people from Swing Shift would come over, and then the people from A Shift would come over, and we cycled for 3 days. And I think I slept like 2 hours in 3 days. And I can't remember if I was sick. When I'm sick, if that makes sense. Like the only time I remember being truly sick in the last year or so was after PAX. And I don't remember playing anything. PAX Pox I had. Oh, I think you've got PAX Pox. Or did you? I got PAX Pox. Did you? Yeah. Okay. So I've had PAX Pox and GDC STD, whatever you call it.
Oh my God. That's such a thing.
Sorry. That'll be a new thing. Those were ridiculous. But I was so tired, dude. I don't think I played it. I think I watch shows mostly when I'm sick because I don't play games too much. With COVID, real quick. So you're saying all you could do physically because you were so fatigued?
For the first couple of days, yeah. For like it was for me like the first couple of days, I just kind of laid about and felt like shit, and it was ass. And then after I went to the doctors, they didn't know if I had COVID, but they put me on a medication, and that was like the first night. I think I fired up my PS2, and I just kind of played some games, and that was significant. It was like, oh yeah. I mean, that's when you know I'm sick, is when I'm not playing games, or I'm either that or I'm really fucking tired because I'll go to bed early.
Yeah, right.
I'll go to bed really early. Those are usually my calling cards. Like something might be off here because I love games. I love sitting down and playing them. Yeah. So when I'm not, it's usually a sign that I'm probably sick or very tired.
I fell asleep playing Halo one time, co-op. And my friend called me up on the phone, and he's like, dude, you're asleep. And I'm like, what? And we had been playing. He was at his house, and I was at mine. My head was down, and I was running into a wall, and he thought I was glitched out.
Oh, my God.
So he called me, and he's like, dude, you're glitched out, or you're sleeping. And I'm like, huh? What? Like I played so many hours that I just collapsed in the middle of the game, which is pretty rare.
I have a friend who falls asleep in call every single night that we're on. He just ends up passing out.
In your Discord?
Yeah.
Or... Yeah. Do you have a Discord that's your friends versus patron,
separate from patrons?
Yeah.
Just to like
I've got a couple patrons that do that, by the way. We've got Brav. He's my friend Brav, but that dude will you'll hear him sawing logs. You'll be like, why is Brav in Discord? So we'll click in there and just like every once in a while you hear like
Yeah.
That's great, man.
I know that feeling. Mac the Blade is our next write-in, nearing the end here. Hey, gents, you guys are crushing it. I'm hooked on all of your podcasts. I feel like a lot of pieces are coming together for you all, so I'm excited to see where it all goes. Thank you, Mac. Number one, this is going to sound weird at first. Ever had a three-way? No, I'm not talking about the immediate kind that comes to mind. I'm talking about spaghetti topped with chili and topped with a ton of shredded cheese. I brought this up to a few friends who never heard of it, and I thought I was nuts.
I don't think I've mixed those, but I would eat that.
I was going to say,
because
that sounds
that
good.
Doesn't sound too bad.
Yeah.
I mean, pasta with chili stuff doesn't sound bad. So to me, spaghetti is just one type of pasta. I mean, do you like chili with beans, or do you like beanless chili?
It depends, because funny enough, the reason you asked this is the timing's great. My mom makes a turkey chili sometimes, so it has both beans and a lighter meat. So yeah, I would definitely say like with the beans. I don't know. I feel like it offsets something.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny because I don't think I have this elegant palate. I eat a lot of food that, whatever. Like, not I will eat anything, but to me that sounds good. I like just a smorgasbord of flavors, right? Just chili and pasta and cheese. It's like, holy shit, there's a lot going on here. That's the best type of thing. So all I'm saying, Mac, is give me your recipe. Number two.
That doesn't sound bad. Yeah, at all.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. For those who don't know, there is a mic lag. So I will think Karak has been quiet and he is ready to move on. And
mic. Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, you will start to talk, and I'm just like, oh, fuck.
And I'm very bad at moving on.
No, you're not at all. We like to stick on topics.
We do.
This is this topic, or this question is actually great timing. Can you please, for the love of God, just shake some sense into Square Enix? They just announced a remastered Legend of Mana and Saga Frontier, but they have yet to remaster some of their OG classics like Xenogears, Chrono Trigger, Bahamut Lagoon, Secret of Evermore, Vagrant Story, Final Fantasy Tactics, SNES Dragon Quest series, Front Mission, and Parasite Eve. Do you think the upcoming remasters are just to gauge the market before they start remastering more reputable classics?
No.
I swear, man, I think we're onto something with what I was saying with Nintendo, right? I feel these are the I'm pulling this out of my pocket, we're fucked right now type of things. Like, it's that type of project. Like, we need, okay, everyone wants Chrono Trigger. I would say most people want a re-release of that, right? It's on the DS. Otherwise, you got to get it on the SNES or you're fucked. People would buy that. People would pay tons of money for that. And Square Enix knows that. So when they're in a dire situation, I think now's a good chance maybe you do see one, because I don't think they're in a good spot. But overall, I think companies know the high demand and sometimes immediately satiating that demand. I don't want to say it can hurt them, because there is a timing to everything. But you know what I'm getting at with that is that there is
because Assassin's Creed Japan is brought up all the time.
And I feel like that's a
get
case
out of jail
where
free card.
Exactly. And I feel like that may be a case where the window was missed. They were smart to wait, but now Ghost of Tsushima exists. And now I saw rumors of a Assassin's Creed Japan. And I was like, oh man, like now they're coming a year afterwards. This isn't going to look great for them. You know, they waited a couple of years too long. But most times I think these companies are sitting on these stacks of cash. And the immediate devil's advocate is, well, what a Final Fantasy VII remake? And that was before Avengers as well. So it's tough to say, but I feel like most times these companies like to have the, like you said, get out of jail free card. That's the term
I believe Final Fantasy VII was created because Sony paid them a bunch of money.
Yeah. That's actually...
I don't think Final Fantasy, I mean, it's exclusive and you don't hear anything about the Xbox version. There's a reason.
That's true.
I think that was a good amount of money on a launch title, or close to launch, I guess.
That's a very good point. That might be a big reason why.
Just to get you talking about Sony. Yeah. And I mean, admittedly, like the patch, people get confused thinking you need a PS5 version. You really don't. You just need a PS4 version, and then you say, oh, but the PS5 version, or if you play it on the PS5, it might up-res it or whatever, and then we'll patch it later. We'll give you a real version. People were playing Cyberpunk already on the new consoles.
Yeah.
Now there'll be a new version at some point, but you get my drift. Like, I think Sony was probably like, dude, we want to lock that down, and we want to have people talking about it in the same time frame. Not exactly the same time frame, but, you know, overall in the same time frame. Also, I believe the Sony PlayStation was delayed. And there's a good chance that would have all came at the same time.
Yeah. My fat cock is the next write-in. I want to. All right. I feel like I haven't said that in a while. So, welcome back, my fat. I want to get into the Wasteland franchise, but I tried to play 2, admittedly not for too long, and wasn't into it. I love the idea of choice and consequence as well as world building. Is 3 much different than 2? Even if it isn't, can you sell me on the gameplay? Maybe give me a couple of tips about how to go about the game.
Yeah, 3 is a perfect sandbox game of that kind and has a shit ton of choice.
Preach.
You can kill one of the main bad guys, or not bad guys, but one of the main guys in like the first cutscene. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Oh my God, man. Yeah. Gameplay wise, I think it's got a better flow to it because your enemies' turns all happen at once. So
yeah, right.
So you get control a little bit quicker. 3 has a lot of fucking builds, a lot of them. 2 also, I know towards the end has a very sharp difficulty spike, where 3 does not. 3 does not. 3 is, I don't want to say it's easy, but it's easier. Especially if you are playing co-op, then you can have a very diverse range of builds if you're feeding off a friend. I think 2 is 2 co-op? I don't remember. I don't know if it is.
No, I don't think Fallout, or I don't think Wasteland 2 is co-op.
Yeah.
I could be wrong on that, actually, but no. I think 3 is the first one.
Yeah.
I think 3 is the first one.
Exactly, and I feel like I would have played a ton more of 2 if I knew it was co-op.
Right, of 2?
Yeah. 3 was a blast with a friend. So there is that as well. So there are some differences. If you want tips and tricks, nothing in particular is coming to mind right now, but I do have a tips video. By the way, it was sponsored by Enix, so just keep that in mind if it matters. But I did do a tips and tricks video just about things that you should know before you start the game. And it was stuff about stat building and allocating points, about how do you make a lot of money, those types of things. So if you want more details on some of the systems in the game and the equipment and characters and whatnot, then definitely give that a look. But yeah, for sure, Wasteland 3 has a lot of things that can pull you in much more than 2.
Yeah.
And also, I will say this, Wasteland 2 feels, and it's intentional, it gave birth to Fallout, feels a lot closer to Fallout than I think Wasteland 3. Wasteland 3 feels a lot separate, and I think it's because of its setting. So there is that too. It has the same humor and themes and all that, but it manages to diverge enough, I believe. All right, we're almost there. Ponca Luigi, greetings, gentlemen. Thoughts on the concept of utopias? Is idyllic paradise possible if certain rights or privileges are relinquished? What political/socioeconomic vision could most realize this? Feel free to draw on whatever source you choose. Happy Friday, best Paco. That is a loaded question. I don't know how, and if I am informed enough to really give a super, definitive take on what would take utopia, right? What I guess we could bounce off each other, or
I just think utopia. I mean, it doesn't make sense because you and I could live with each other, have millions of dollars, and you would not be as happy as I would for whatever reason. So utopia, it depends on if he means personal happiness, because if so, then you'll never have a utopia. I will say I don't think politically democracy allows for utopia, because democracy does allow for mob rule at time, and the mob can then make it not a utopia, which is what we see and have seen for years. So I don't know I don't think there's a current political type that would be a utopia. I think a cashless society would be an easier society, like Star Trek. If they have a cashless society,
that with my girlfriend a lot.
Yeah, I like the idea. It's just that I also do know that people are lazy, some people, and would not do anything, which then you're paying for them. And there's got to be there has to be, you can't expect the hard workers to just work hard all the time, because then it'll just all be hard workers. And there's this weird thing that happens where there has to be an expectation, even in a cashless society, that somebody puts in. And I don't even know if Star Trek covered that, by the way. I don't know if Star Trek ever went that deep and said, how do you take care of the non-workers? Because there's grifters, there's pieces of shit, there's drug dealers. How do you take care? You know what I mean? How do you stop those things? So it's an interesting conversation, but I don't think it's possible. Humans don't want to be happy.
Honestly, yeah. And that mirrors some of my thoughts. I mean, I think there are obvious choices to make making acceptance, a bigger priority from, race, gender, all of that stuff. I think that's really important. And that's all a part of being progressive. But otherwise, I talk about it with my girlfriend a ton about a cashless society, because not to dive too deep into it, because you look at, I think the Apple CEO got some multi-million-dollar raise of some kind, but yet a lot of Apple stores had their hours increase. And it was interesting on how there's not really a major trickle down of something like that, where you see people making more money. And I'm always have been of the belief that you should work for your money, but also that if you're making billions of dollars and you have the, it comes down to personal choice. You have the opportunity to impact the world, you should make that choice. It's why I donate to a ton of charities. I don't make a lot of money, but I try to do the good I can with that money. So we talk a lot about what if, and I don't want this to sound, it's not like an anti-capitalist thing, by the way. I want to make that clear. But it's more so just the idea of hey, what if money didn't exist and it didn't really rule things so strongly? Would there be a replacement currency? Would people just happily try to participate and that participation was enough, right? Would everyone just be doing YouTube for fun in that society, is what you think about a little bit with that. And it goes deeper and deeper. So Paco, it's really hard to answer what the solution is for society itself because I've only played games where utopias have crumbled. And so...
You know what blows me away? Sorry.
No, I didn't have more to say.
You said acceptance would be one of the major positives, which I agree. But at the same time, here's why I think that may not work. Because that should already be fucking possible.
You're saying it should be already happening, right?
Yes. Why would you care if somebody was black? Why would you care if somebody was Asian or white? Where they were from? It makes... And dude, I come from a place that... I mean, well, we had a pretty large Asian contingent because I lived on the coast and there was a lot of people worked there that were. Mm-hmm. But it's like I didn't grow up. There was no... I mean, like, racism wasn't a thing. It wasn't even like, it just didn't even come up. And when you saw somebody, that wasn't the first thing you thought. So to me, I guess it's alien. But I'm like, why is that not instant? I'm married to a Chinese woman. Yeah. Like, it doesn't make any sense and that's why I worry about utopia kind of stuff. Because it's like, if we can't do it right now, when there's no reason that I can fathom that we would do it right now, how would we get to that? How do you get to that point? Do you breed them out? And what I mean by that is, do you just have enough babies that aren't bastards and pieces of shit that at some point somebody's not a piece of shit? I just don't know if that's... How long do you have to have non-racist babies? We should have already been there.
Education, I think, is the understanding.
And education.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I mean, religion's a big part of it because there's so many ties into negativity around that too. And positively, a lot of people talk negatively about religion. I'm like, dude, I know some people who their communities are amazing. In fact, I was helped, and I'm not religious, and I was helped financially when I lost my eyesight, and that was awesome because I couldn't have done it without them. There's also a lot of negativity in that, and I don't know. It bothers me, man. I just think humans don't want to be happy.
Like, you're not wrong.
We're just we're dirty, shitty apes, man. Like, I don't know. I don't mean to be too negative, but
no, I get it though. Yeah, and it's a deep question that it's hard to answer in stride. Other than I think the push for more societal things. Could I lay out like a economic plan for that and talk healthcare and all that shit? Probably not. But I could tell you, be nice to your neighbor. Be nice to people no matter who or whatever they are. None of that shit fucking matters. It never has. I think I agree with you. It's not a thought. For some people, if for some reason is, I think it's beyond fucking trivial, and I don't understand how it even gets to that point. But that's why we have to actively make sure people feel
fight
welcome
against it
and fight against it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Coach Blue is next. Yo, last week Matty was discussing Nightcrawler, and there was some confusion about his ability to teleport. According to the lore, his teleport is limited. Typically, he can only teleport to a location that he physically sees with his eyes in the moment. In a few extreme circumstances, he was able to teleport a max of 2 miles, but it completely drained him. Personally, I would love a Black Panther game. Wakanda and Africa in general would be a cool setting that doesn't get explored in games much. Rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman. Wakanda forever, Coach Blue. I would love to see more Black Panther. My introduction to Black Panther was actually Ultimate Alliance 2. I had not heard of that character up until that point. But thank you. Anyway, thank you, Coach Blue, for the clarification. Now we know that a Nightcrawler game, it's possible. It can happen.
Yeah, for sure.
Fuck yeah. Last write-in, and then we're done here. Ivory State. Hey, all. Hope everyone's doing well. Just wanted to hear your thoughts on the teased sequel to Destroy All Humans remake, which will likely be Destroy All Humans remake 2. Destroy All Humans 2 remake. Personally, as a huge fan of the original games and a big fan of the remake, I thought for the most part, they did a fantastic job. A few things like physics were inferior to the original. I'm excited to see what the team comes up with the sequel, and I hope they add in a bit more bonus content and things that weren't in the original, as the remake of 1 was pretty identical content-wise. Now, I will agree with that, but they did change a lot of the controls, and they added stuff that was in 2 back into 1 to make it play a little bit better, and I appreciated that a ton. Mm-hmm. So for me, I'm excited to see more. I thought they did a really good job with the remake, and I think it was priced really well. So out of all of the things that THQ Nordic has done, remakes and remasters, which seems to be their business, I think Destroy All Humans was probably my favorite. And I feel bad because we've talked about Wasteland and Destroy All Humans, which last year were the only 2 games I did sponsored stuff for. I did do a sponsored video for Destroy All Humans remake. So just keep that in mind. But I love it a lot, and I played a ton of it, and I purchased my own copy of the game. So I think it's really good, and I would love to see more from them. And I hope they go into other pandemic games and remake those. Dude, Karak, imagine fucking Lord of the Rings Conquest. Oh my God. Because I understand Battlefront, that's not getting remade, or I doubt it's even getting remastered. But Lord of the Rings Conquest, the Saboteur, oh my goodness, dude.
Mercenaries, yeah.
That'd be
awesome.
I'd
kill, because Just Cause showed that like overall destruction, works quite well, and I would do Just Cause, Matthias and all those characters where they're just primo. But I don't know, man. I'm not in love. I was not in love with this one, but okay. I will say that doesn't stop me from wanting the second one. In fact, it never does. Like I'm not one of those guys that says move on. Like if they want to do it, let them do it, and like just let them improve some stuff. I can't even remember some of the things. I think it was more just because it is an older game and it just didn't resonate with me. But it was priced lower, and a remake would be great. But I do think if they're ready to make 2, I would love for them to just say we're making a true sequel. But I guess that's. I mean, Embracer Group could make 100,000 of those games without losing any money.
Yeah, they could.
Right? Because that's you said it was THQ. This is THQ Nordic, right?
Published, and so yeah, they're owned by Embracer.
They're quadrillion trillionaires.
Yeah,
right.
They're fine.
So, what about this GTA size world, but destroy all humans? Go nuts, and
dude, absolutely.
Imagine them saying we're not. Now, admittedly, he stated he's not doing this. He stated very clearly that their goal is mid-tier titles. But it would be cool if 1 or 2 of the titles. And Mercenaries is destruction, which I think could be a little boring. But a Destroy All Humans 3, where they're like, yo, bitches, we're throwing down, and it's going to be an entire city. It's going to be like GTA. We're going to secrets and fucking things you can do, and taking over people and getting jobs and pretending to be human. I'd kill for that. I don't know the other games, Saboteur, Mercenaries. I don't know.
You ever played Saboteur?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, black and white. Remember, it was black and white turned red. Yeah, I like those. I'm just saying. Sorry. Other than those, I don't know of any. That pop off, but they're probably IP hell too. I could be wrong
for sure. I mean, that's the thing is, I'm surprised. I give them credit. I didn't think the way you feel about Destroy All Humans remake, I feel about Kingdoms of Amalur: Re-Reckoning. I thought it was really underwhelming for its price point, but it's really fascinating that they were able to get that IP. To get Destroy All Humans. So I believe that
because that IP was probably in trouble.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, I know EA had some involvement in Re-Reckoning, and it's why the PC version was not a free upgrade and why you had to pay $20 if you owned it previously. Yeah, it was because EA was involved. Yeah, not a good look. But it was definitely one of those things where I was shocked to just see these IP come back, and it was really exciting. So with Kingdoms of Amalur, I know they still have to do that new expansion, which is adding new content to the game. That has yet to occur. So I'm very excited to see what they do with that. But point being is I hope that they do dig deep and, look at more pandemic IP. I think there's a hunger for something Lord of the Rings or Middle-earth related. That's not that Gollum game.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's talking about it. I hear about it and I see no one ever bring it up. And I think, no offense, I fucking can't stand Gollum. I can't. How
do you make Gollum a playable character? Why do you even care about Gollum's story? Everything about it, he's a bitch. And if you make him a good guy, then it doesn't make sense. It's a bad idea. Make a normal Lord of the Rings. Remember Lord of the Rings, every time they're just like, it's fake elf guy, it's fake human guy, and it's fake dwarf guy. Remember? It was never Aragorn or whatever. Yeah. So you know what? Do it again. I would like to play a gauntlet style 3-person battle, game or RTS.
I would love that. Yeah, just something. And so maybe they remaster Conquest. I would spring out of my seat. That would be really exciting. I thought Conquest was actually as good as Battlefront in a couple of ways. But that's it.
Oh, that is the one I was talking about. Sorry, that is the one I was talking about.
Say it again.
That is the one. That is the fighter, right? The Lord of the Rings, the one you just said. That is the like third person.
Yeah. It had like the melee class, a rogue class,
right?
Archer, mage.
I agree with you.
Yeah, that game
that
was
would be
really
awesome.
Cool. The map design was much better, and some of the stuff you could do in that game just felt really good. The stealth takedowns with the rogue class, underrated. All right, now that is it. I had to pause. What I got to do is I got to adjust my pacing. I got to give it an extra second and let there be some dead air to make sure Karak is done, and then when Dustin's here, make sure he's done. So then,
especially on my excitable days.
No, not even. It's not on you. It's on me because I'm like, okay, Karak's done, but I forget the delay, and so I talk right over you when you're like looking to talk more, which is what we want. We want to keep talking, but I'm like, okay,
all I do.
Same.
Good at it.
Same. So we thank all of you out there for listening to this episode. We hope you enjoyed. And with that, it's time for us to wrap this up. So be sure to check out both of our Patreons. Karak's got one. I have one. Support there does help out a lot, especially if we're giving you this 3+ hour show. It's much appreciated that you scratch our back a little bit. Yeah, I know, right? Check the time. It's about to be 9 o'clock for me. So it's gonna be a late night over here.
We started late.
Yeah, we
started late, didn't we? Okay, I was like, what the hell? How?
Yeah.
Well, we still talked a lot.
I know. All right. Well, thank you so much for tuning in, and we hope to see you all next week with episode 295. Peace out.
Peace out.